Our hashtag is Situation Room on Twitter. We are live streaming on Facebook, Spice FM KE, on YouTube, Spice FM KE, on our website, www.spicefm.co.ke. Our frequencies around the country, we're in Nairobi, 94.4, Mombasa, 87.9, Kisumu, 102.5, 96.0 in Nakuru, 96.7 in Eldoret, 90.9 in Nyeri, 97.6 in Malindi. Well, when you say we are Kenya's biggest conversation, is because we hold all the conversations of all manner of ways. We've just been putting ourselves to task as the public and saying, what has the public got to do with the failures of the government? Now, let's also look at our political parties. What do political parties as organs of human beings, of the public, also have got to do with this? And we're joined in the studio this morning by a very good friend who is the ODM Secretary-General, Mr. Edwin Sifuna. Good morning.
Thank you so much for having me here. As I was telling you, this is my first time here, and I really like the studio. I think it's easily the best I've seen in this country.
And you've been around.
And I've been around.
You get around?
I've been to all of them.
Welcome to the Situation Room.
Asante sana.
This is Kenya's biggest conversation.
Thank you.
Of course, I'm Eric Latiff. I'll let everybody else introduce themselves to you.
Absolutely.
I am CT Muga.
Njeri Thorne.
Okoh.
Nice to meet you.
Pleasure.
Thank you.
So you are here in your capacity as one, a Kenyan, two, Secretary-General of ODM, three, Vice Chairman of
CMD,
the Center for Multi-Party Democracy,
yes,
and many others. Well, of course, because you're in the political parties, and you're also a politician. So we're going to put some few questions to you.
Sure.
And we want you to answer as honestly as you can.
Yeah.
And as politically correct as you can.
I don't think we do political correctness in ODM. We are going to try and speak the truth. You will lay out the facts. There's people who will like it, and there's those who will not like it. There are those who will agree, and there are those who will disagree. Yeah.
Njeri.
I want to start with the fact, first of all, that you work at, or you're at the helm of leadership at the Center of Multi-Party Democracy.
Yes.
Don't you find it contradictory then that you have failed in your role as opposition in Kenya, which is crucial for a healthy democracy?
First
you
of
as
all,
a party.
The Center for Multi-Party Democracy is an amalgamation of all the political parties, parliamentary political
What is its role?
in Kenya. There is about 19 signed up and paid up members as we speak, including the ruling party. So,
but its role primarily is to promote democracy.
It's not really a political, an opposition entity as it is.
No. I'm talking about now that with your position.
The role
of
the Center for Multi-Party Democracy is supposed to create capacity within political parties for them to be able to play their role in the democratization of the country. So that
you can promote and enhance democracy.
Absolutely.
Now, with that, one of the tenets of democracy is a healthy opposition to hold the government accountable and check on excesses in the legislature and give the electorate options in democracy.
Absolutely.
Do you not feel with a handshake you may have failed the electorate?
I think there is a misunderstanding of the sort of system of governance that we have in this country. We have a presidential system, just like in the US, where essentially Parliament is supposed to play the role of checking the executive. Parliament as an entity. What we have is, in terms of the experience we have had as a country, is that in the 2013-2017 period, when the Jubilee Party had the so-called tyranny of numbers, when we had the so-called tyranny of numbers, some of the members of the ruling party conflated their membership to the party with membership to the executive. And the constitutional safeguards that are woven into the constitution to check the executive were essentially taken off the table. One of the biggest stories in the world right now is the impeachment of Trump by Congress. Now, we do have a similar, mechanism in our constitution, but at the height of the so-called tyranny of numbers, we could not even get a member of parliament to censure our cabinet secretary. You remember the incident with Anwar Iguru, when essentially the president would call the members of the Jubilee Party to State House and just tell them that you need to drop this motion. We believe, and I still believe, that during that particular time, the first term, Uhuru committed serious crimes against the constitution, violation of court orders. You remember the issue of teachers, hiring of police officers, the Lamu land reclamation or attempted reclamation. So we thought actually that if the constitution worked the way that it did, it was supposed to, in those particular instances, at the very minimum, we needed to see parliamentary censure. So what we have right now is people who have, I don't want to use this term in a derogatory manner, but a hangover from the old constitutional order, where we actually had backbenchers who played the role of opposition, and also people who have a hangover from confrontational politics, so that right now, people don't believe that you can hold a government to account by having a discussion, that the only way they know how to hold a government to account is to make noise and to be adversarial and to throw insults and to, to speak at each other as opposed to talking to each other.
Is there a way to cure this hangover that we talk about? Because obviously it seems that
the handshake is the supposed cure,
that's the only way to get out of
I think like all hangovers, and I'm sure around the table we have experienced a few, it's just a matter of time. You give it time, drink a lot of water, try some coffee.
When you say around the table, why are you looking directly?
What do you know about City?
What do you know about City that we don't?
No, without imputing anything negative to any particular person. I think with time, with experience, people are going to see that there's a difference. And personally, I believe that the accusation that somehow ODM or our party leader has abandoned the opposition role is unfounded, because there is not any particular instance that you can cite and say this is the reason why you think opposition now has died. It is possible, and this is one of the tenets of the Center for Multi-Party Democracy, for there to exist cooperation among political parties. And we have visited countries such as places like Denmark, where the issue of cooperation is not that you have to be enemies when you are politicians in different political parties. It is possible for us
we can have collaborative leadership and healthy competition, but
it is not necessarily the death of opposition.
There's one incident I want to bring to the fore, which was the inspection of Raila of Galanin-Kulalu and his
Kulalu. Galanin-Kulalu.
Kulalu.
Yes.
Yes, and his inspection of that and his subsequent endorsement of the project and saying that it was doing well. It would have been his key responsibility as opposition, if he was actually doing his job, to point out that maybe there were some issues taking place and to get people riling up behind him to ensure that the government does the right thing. Instead, what we saw is him go there and endorse the project and say everything was okay. Now, this is it's indicative of what happens when the opposition is not playing its role. You don't put the government of the day to task. You don't hold them accountable. This is one of the pillars. I also want to discuss the fact that you have completely taken away choice from people. So people don't have a choice. We'll come to that, which is a key tenet of democracy. And then, of course, you've told us about the checks and balances or the excesses of the legislature and how it was an impossibility to do anything because of the tyranny of numbers. But I want us to go back and deal with this idea of accountability. And I've given you an example of when it's gone wrong because of the handshake. Are we then saying the idea of unity in Kenya supersedes or is more important than democracy as we know it? Because it's a possibility and we can discuss that.
First of all, the example that you cite is based on the wrong information. Unfortunately for you, you've fallen victim of
the media houses.
Absolutely.
Because what I watched, although it was Raila himself saying that it's
not
fine.
The media houses. I did not hear Raila say that the project is fine. In fact, when he went to Galana, everybody knows that Galana is one of the biggest corruption scandals in this country. In fact, the Israeli firm that was contracted to partner with the Kenyan government has said that in the 70 years of the existence of the State of Israel and the partnerships they have been doing in agriculture, this is the first time such a partnership is failing, and it is because of all the
ambassador resigned.
Absolutely, all the corruption that was embedded into this particular project. As conceived, it was supposed to be 1 million acres of land under irrigation to be able to supplement the food production in other areas of the country. Everybody knows that the project is a failure.
Okay, can I just interject at this point? Please allow me to interject, because you've refuted something I've said and you're building an argument on that. I've got here quoting Raila. We've come here to witness for ourselves. We're hearing reports that funds for the project have been embezzled, but we've witnessed something good, he said, that it is not a white elephant. This is verbatim quoting.
So this is what you need to understand. There is a demonstration farm that was set up for about 10,000 acres. That was not the Galanin-Kulalu project. It was 1 million acres under irrigation.
All
So
right.
if you go to the demonstration farm, you will actually see something good.
So there
And
was
that is
parts of it.
exactly-
Okay, so
that
what
is
you're saying,
exactly
there was
what-
parts of it, there was components
It's a
of it that he was
demonstration
endorsing.
farm.
For what? For
For
the
the
Galana-Kulalu
yes,
project.
exactly. So what
Raila
I'm telling
Odinga
you,
gives
what
Galana
I'm
project
telling-
thumbs up.
that-
So when
that's
he
what
goes
I'm
to the
telling you.
demonstration farm,
Let me tell you one thing. I used to be a consumer of news, and when I became a maker of news, I realized there's a problem with the reporting of news in this country.
So
Just because you are in a
Raila
place,
was misquoted
for
or we
instance,
misunderstood him?
For instance, I will sit here today and they will say Sifuna has endorsed Spice FM as a leading radio.
yeah. No,
But it depends
Whether
what
it
you
is factual
say.
or not.
It
But that's
depends
what I'm
what you
saying.
say. I'm quoting him verbatim.
The physical presence of Raila at that particular project cannot be said that he endorsed the
I have
problem.
I've
What did
quoted
the
what he
project
said.
can say-
What did he say?
I have
there?
quoted what he said verbatim.
He saw the demonstration farm.
Right.
He said it is a good project if it was done the way that it was supposed to be done. If all the corruption did not go into that
He
particular
he
project,
said it's not a white elephant.
that's
Yeah,
what I'm
as
saying.
purported,
That's what I'm saying. You have a report that you are saying is the actual truth of what was said, but I am telling you it was different.
So are we
He
saying
was
that
talking
he looked
about
at the demonstration
He
area?
was talking
which
about
was
the
kind of like the
demonstration
pilot
farm.
for the
let me
rest of
ask
it.
you.
So if we
Let me
see
ask you right now. If you go to
When they were
Galanin-Kulalu,
talking about the white elephant.
there is 1 million acres.
No, let's
supposed to
not
be
conflate
irrigated.
matters. Let me
So
make
when
it
you
very
go
easy
there,
for the
You will be
audience.
shown the demonstration farm. And
Sifuna.
the demonstration farm is
No,
actually
when it was being called
something good.
no.
So
When
are
it
you
was being
saying
called
that
a
kind of
white
like when you
elephant,
go
was
to-
it the demonstration
Are
farm
you
that
saying-
was the white elephant?
Here's
Are you saying like kind of like when you go to an estate to see houses, they show you the show house?
Yeah,
So are you saying
if-
that what
if-
you
if
saw
the
was
show
the
house,
show
if the
house?
show house
okay.
is a good house, you say this is a good house.
Okay, now listen,
it's very
Sifuna,
simple. But
Sifuna.
everybody knows.
Clearly,
Was
there
it
is
was
a
it the
problem
show
with,
house that was being accused of being a white elephant?
No,
Because
it's
he
the
was
project
categorical.
itself.
Now he
It's the
said
project
it is not a
itself.
white elephant.
It's the
Raila
project
refuted
itself.
that and said it is not a white elephant. He
And
wasn't talking about the
here's
show
what
house.
you need to understand. You know, there's a definition of a white elephant. It is a project that even if done to completion, is not going to bring any benefit at all to anyone. But we are saying that if Galana-Kulalu was done in accordance to the plans that were there, devoid of corruption, it is not a white elephant.
So when he
It
was
is
there,
actually a project that can produce maize.
the
So it
ODM
can be
leader
seen-
did not talk
So
about
now there's
corruption.
conditionality in his
can be seen.
approval. He's
No,
saying
no.
if we don't have
see,
corruption, it is good.
Let
And
me
he
tell-
did not
let me
even
tell
talk
you
about
something.
corruption there.
Let
He
me
didn't.
just say something. You know, if you're looking to find fault, you will always find
No,
fault.
I'm looking to emphasize
Give
the
us-
fact that
give
the
us an
opposition is not
example.
playing its
Give us an
role in
example of
holding
a
the government
failure
accountable.
of opposition to hold the government accountable.
This is
We
an
speak
example.
about corruption every single day. We have been the ones. We are the reasons.
When was the last
even-
time
even
Raila
after-
spoke of corruption?
Now you will have to look for clips from last weekend. Even yesterday, when we were with him at the fundraiser for Kibra,
He's
he actually
specific
spoke
about the
it.
DP. He's
So
not-
it is there. No. It is corruption is a problem
Do you
in
want
this
to
country.
tell me
it,
he is
it
as
affects
vigorous
everyone.
or rigorous as he was in the run-up to the
It
elections,
depends
where
on how
we
you
had the
want to
headlines
define
every day?
rigor and vigor.
No,
Because the truth
no,
of the
listen.
matter is,
No,
when
no,
we
no, no.
started, let me-
Sifuna,
let
you're
me
going
answer.
into semantics,
Let me
but you are
answer.
failing people who supported the
Let me
opposition.
answer.
You're
Let me
not
answer.
holding government accountable.
You know, if you start saying, if we start going into the discussion of how we are failing people who are in the opposition, we will start asking questions of the people who
Let's
voted
get
for this
some
government.
calls and hear what the audience
We will
thinks.
start
I'm
asking
sure
questions
I'm-
about the people who
I'm
sold us this
resonating with
government,
a lot of-
and
with
then
a lot
want
of
to come and tell us that we are failing the people in
So,
the
Edwin,
opposition. It's
Edwin.
ridiculous.
Do you know it's okay to
Paint
accept
for us
that
the
unity is
picture.
important?
Paint for us the picture of ODM and the role it's playing as the official opposition. Well, not necessarily the official opposition. NASA should be the official opposition coalition. So what is NASA or ODM actually doing as the opposition? How is it putting the government in check? Just paint for us that picture.
Personally, you know, we need to understand, first of all, the existing regime of law.
Yes.
The existing system of government. Number one, I have told you that we are in a presidential system of government. It is the responsibility of certain institutions to be able to keep government in check. It is not the responsibility of any single political party or entity. Number one, in a presidential system, it is the responsibility of parliament as an entity. Parliament as an entity to be able to keep the executive in check. It is
To
not
check
the
the
responsibility.
excesses, absolutely. That's the
Yes.
legislature,
Yeah.
and
So,
you have the
so
opposition
this is
in
what
the
I'm saying.
legislature.
That's what I'm
But
saying.
your role
Are
as
you
opposition
asking,
in
are
a
you
democracy.
asking, let me finish, Njeri. Are you asking how is the body, the entity that is responsible for keeping or checking the executive excesses, how is it working? Or you're asking me as a leader of a political party how ODM is supposed to keep the government in check? It's a ridiculous question because it has no basis in law. There is no law that gives ODM power. For instance, for me to say I'm going to stop the excesses of executive. With what powers? It is Parliament.
There is
through its
structures.
legislative
It
powers,
doesn't have to
through
be
its
legislated
powers
for.
to be able to allocate resources and to remove resources from certain areas, to approve projects. That is the responsibility of the National Assembly and the Senate.
You know, the presidential system that you speak of is not new, right?
It's new, actually.
No, okay.
In this particular
dispensation,
dispensation,
is
Yeah.
new, right? But then we also know that we've got majority and minority in Parliament.
Yes.
And there's a reason why there's a majority and minority recognized.
So what is the reason, Eric?
So
It's the way people voted.
It's
That
the
is
way
the
people
reason. But there's a
voted.
reason we have an opposition,
this particular
and we
case-
fund an opposition because you have a role to play in a healthy democracy, of which you have failed the people. I've given you the 3 pillars on which you have failed.
But let me ask
First
a
of all,
question.
providing
Yes.
options.
Is
No,
it-
Sifuna, don't ignore my
No.
statement.
I actually want to
Yours is a
chime in here
statement.
You
because
can't answer the question.
You can make
Citi-
statements,
Citi-
but
No,
I want
ask-
to answer questions.
ask something.
Yeah.
no, but from what Njeri is saying, there seem to be not just a proscribed way in which the opposition must conduct their business. Where is it written?
Let her tell us that.
Where?
Once she
because
sheds light on that.
there's a
Yeah.
way in which Njeri
Once she
seems
tells
to
us
feel
that, we will
the
be able to
opposition
answer.
must
It is-
function, and the opposition, understand, is a coalition.
And that's why I actually asked Sifuna, just give us, because you are in the leadership of the party, just give us how you've organized yourselves so that you actually ensure that your members in Parliament play their role.
So let me tell you what we are doing. Number one, as a party, we are able to. First of all, we have a parliamentary group. That parliamentary group will bring forth, for instance, matters that are up for debate within the Houses of Parliament. They will seek for guidance from the parties. We have directorates that give them pointers on the position of a party on matters that are coming before the House. We had recently, we lost one of the most important votes where we had given specific guidance to the parliamentary group on what we thought should be done when it came to the issue of the IEBC, for instance.
Right.
We lost that vote. It is parliamentary democracy as it is.
Yes,
we
it
would have
happens.
loved to see a situation whereby we did away with the current IEBC and put in place a separate mechanism for the appointment of commissioners of the IEBC. But as it is, we lost the vote. That is what the minority side and majority side means. So we are executing our role. We are trying to impart or impact on the country what we believe is right, how we view things, how we view the IEBC, the electoral regime, all of these things.
Have you had
it
any
is
public
channeled through-
conversation about that? Especially, let's talk
That's
about
not
that
a matter
particular bill.
for
Like-
the public debate, for instance.
It should be.
Because let me tell you how
Anything is a
Parliament
matter of
works.
public
It
No.
should be. There
Let-
was public
Eric,
participation on
Eric,
this.
let me tell
Why
you.
don't we let the gentleman tell us why it isn't?
This is what I'm telling you. The matter of the appointment of new commissioners was a matter before a departmental committee of the House. So what they do is they write letters to stakeholders, including political parties, for us to be able to give our views on such an important bill, because we are stakeholders. So what happens is, as a party, we prepare a memorandum and we say this is what we think should happen in this particular instance. We submit it to the committees of Parliament. And then during the day of the vote, we call our parliamentary whip, Honorable Junet, we call the leader of minority, Honorable Mbadi. We have a sit down, we discuss the matter, and we say, as a political party, this is what we would like to do. And these are matters that are going to happen within the precincts of Parliament.
Right.
So if you hold a rally over such a matter, those people you're talking to do not have any say, because this is a matter that is before Parliament. You require numbers within Parliament itself to be able to vote on this particular matter. So not everything is to be taken, through that particular process of, rallies, noise, public discussions, because it is a matter that is before a committee and it is a matter for a vote.
It's a matter for a vote, yes, Edwin, and I hear you, and I completely agree. However, it's a matter that also has a lot of public interest.
Absolutely.
And that's why there was an issue of public
I agree,
interest.
and this is what I want to bring. I'm happy you are discussing the role of a citizen in this country. Do you know that as stakeholders, as a public, nobody prevents the public or any member of the public to actually submit memoranda to even those committees of Parliament? They actually advertise and they say there's a certain
They said,
bill.
yes, and there was public
So
participation
that is
on
not
phase.
for ODM to mobilize you. You have a responsibility under Article 3 as a citizen of this country to participate in legal lawmaking in this country and to advance the interest of the public when it comes to matters that affect the public.
Which gets into the rabbit hole where I was heading to. You see, as a political party, you you have membership, not only of the leadership, but also membership of ordinary members of your
Yeah,
party.
there is a meaning to the word leadership.
Yes,
Latiff.
so at the point
there is times at which we will fall back to our membership and tell them that this is a matter that we would like to hear from you. For instance,
so in this particular one, you do not think that you needed to
let me
public.
Let me give you the reasons. You see, all of these things are happening within a certain context, Latiff. After the handshake, I think we are the only political party that put together a technical committee to look at the 9-point memorandum that was signed between the president and our party leader, and ask the question, what would be our contribution in terms of proposing solutions to these issues that have been identified. And as a political party, because we have structures until every polling station, all the 42,000 polling stations in the country, we have structures until the lowest possible voting unit in the country. So what we did through our county chairman, we asked them the same question. What would you like to see, for instance, if you were presented with the question of dealing with ethnic mobilization in our politics? What would you say? So we have gone through that entire consultations, and I have reports upon reports from all the 47 counties from our membership as a political party.
On the BBI.
Now, one of the things, is of course one of the 9 points was how to deal with the issue of divisive elections in the country, and proposals came. When you're dealing with divisive elections, it includes the structure of government, it includes the electoral management body itself. People have given us, our membership have given us their position. In fact, the preference of the members of ODM is to have a system of appointment of commissioners similar to what we had with the IPPG. It is there. And it is upon that same feedback, that as a leader now sitting in my office, having received all this feedback from the people, when I receive an invitation...
So that's what you advocated
exactly.
when the bill came to the floor.
Are we
Exactly.
saying that the propositions that come from the people are actually then imbibed in what you put forth as proposals then? And I'm asking
It's
because
true.
I would like to understand to what depth public participation actually goes when you're now making these proposals towards the vote.
Okay, for us as a party, let me tell you, if you don't do right by the members of ODM, they will just leave you behind. So there is a very, very deliberate effort to always incorporate the views of the membership of a party.
Because you don't want to be left behind, or
Yes,
because you're
because
actually interested in putting the interests of
first
people
of all, as a
at the
political
fore.
party, you require support, you require membership. And the only way somebody is going to give you their support is if you actually value their
You
view.
listen to them.
And you listen to them.
But the
So
party
it
is
is
renowned for
important to me.
top-down leadership.
It is,
So in
it
terms
is
of
important to
incorporating
me
others,
as a leader, let me just finish, Njeri. It is important to me to hear what the members of the party are saying. For instance, in Kibra, they were very clear that if we attempted as the leadership of a party to give someone the direct ticket, we would have problems with them. Even if we had gone for Imran and given him a direct ticket, we would be in problems now. They wanted that candidate to emerge from a process of a membership. So it is important to listen. So we do listen. We consult. We have 47 county chairs. Just recently, we had a meeting with them at the new Orange House to show them the new house, for them to be able to know where the new party headquarters are. It is important to carry people along if you are in leadership. That does not mean that it is what was he saying? Top down. No, it's not like that. It's actually bottom up.
But Mr.
It has been
Sifuna,
top down in the
leadership in
past.
our political parties is top down. I mean, the reality is, it's like even in a lot of the time, the information that you get from the leadership is a fiat. There's talk of participation, yes, but essentially you are told what to do.
No. You see, this is one of those. I don't know how to call it, but it is propaganda that has been
Created
repeated
by the media.
No, it's not
Another
created
one.
by the media. It has been repeated enough times so that everybody believes it to
repeating
be
it?
Because what's different
everybody.
Who's
hasn't
repeating it?
Everybody.
What's different
I
is
hear
not
this-
visible.
I hear this
Sifuna.
from all sorts of quarters, but I thought you brought me here to share my own experience.
Okay,
So that
Sifuna.
giving you a feedback.
Latif, just a minute.
And we also give you our feedback.
Yeah,
When-
it's
when we
okay.
say this
So
is
I've
it.
received the feedback from him. I want to share my experience. Is that possible at Spice FM?
It is possible.
I want to share my
and remember,
experience.
I have said all political
Yes,
parties.
it's okay.
I have not singled
I
out
understand. I understand. Now, just last month, I was at an Africa Union meeting of political parties in the East African region, it was actually identified as one of the biggest problems in the region is that we have political parties that heavily rely on one charismatic leader. It is not just a problem in Kenya. We have the Rwandese Patriotic Front, people asking questions, what would happen to that political party if Kagame say were to leave? What would happen to the, what is it called? The one for Museveni? Yes. So it is a debate that we are alive to. But I want to share my own personal experiences as a Secretary-General of the party. Of course, even when I came in, I had heard these stories that once the party leader says this, it goes. In my own personal experience, we have countermanded Raila on more than 10 occasions that I can name easily here. Yeah, because he puts his ideas forward and they are subjected. We have committees of a party. For instance, we have the Central Management Committee, we have the National Executive Committee. Good leaders also allow their ideas to be shaped by others. And Raila is one such leader. He would come with a proposal to a meeting and people would give different angles. What if we did it like this? This one will have this result. This one would have this result. I am telling you for a fact.
So he comes with the agenda to the meeting?
Not that everyone comes to a meeting with an agenda. I'm the Secretary General. I go into a meeting. I know that I need certain approvals to be made by certain organs of the party. So I'll carry my agenda. Okay. So on that agenda, people will give views. So if we throw an agenda on this table, you will have a view. She will have a view. She will have a view. So it is not that it is wrong for someone to carry an agenda into a meeting.
That's why people go to top-down leadership. Usually if it's bottom-up, you'll get the sentiments of the people and that creates the agenda. But I have a quick question for you. Where do you get your funding from as ODM?
First of all, as ODM, we qualify for the Political Parties Fund. I think it is the biggest source of financing for ODM. Number two, we have membership. Subscriptions. We have contributions from members of parliament. We have contributions from members of the county assembly. They contribute to the party. So that is like the core source of funding for the party.
I always have been of the opinion that political parties should be ideology based so that we run away from this issue of when a particular leader is not there, the party will still be able to hold ground.
Absolutely, and I agree with you.
Right. So what are the ideologies for ODM specifically now that you say that this party stands on, and regardless of who is at the helm of leadership, those ideologies will be lived through?
Yeah, so this is one of the challenges we have as political parties, and I've told you, I have admitted that sometimes because you have such a charismatic leader at the helm of a party, it almost always
looks like it's his party.
Yes, it almost always looks like him. The party is him.
Is him,
but
right.
ODM is founded on certain ideologies. And it is our business to articulate those ideologies so that people actually understand. Whether we believe that they exist or not is a different story, because people will always want to fight. Ni kawaida ya siasa. So we are a social democratic party. We believe in equal distribution of resources, for instance, for all citizens, equal access to opportunities to education, equal opportunities to politics, to all sorts of things. To women, to youth, all of those things, they are spelled out very clearly in our constitution. And we believe that actually, given the opportunity to actually implement some of those ideas, we would be measured from that perspective of whether really there's an ideological founding for the party. There are things that, for instance, as ODM, we will not suffer. We believe in a free press. You understand the sort of problems that the media ran into with the Jubilee administration. There was a time when media houses such as this one were being raided by police. Newspapers burned down, journalists being threatened with arrest. That is Jubilee for you. For us, really, we believe that we have to have, as a basic tenet of democracy, you have to have a free media. You have to have a free civil society. You know how
and
hard,
an active opposition.
You know how hard the Jubilee administration went after civil society just in the run-up to the elections. So you have to know that there is clear distinction in terms of what we believe in between Jubilee and ODM. You will not see Sifuna as a cabinet secretary threatening journalists.
Do you think that all leaders that are then elected under the ODM umbrella, under that political party, at whatever level they are, MCA, women rep, governor, etc., etc., do you feel that they all bear those elements, those tenets.
Not
of the
always.
political
Not
party.
always, but they
Isn't
should.
that something that you would
But
like to
they
see
should.
happening?
I would love that to happen, because one of the discussions
and how
we
can
have
that
even-
be enforced?
One of the discussions we have at the Center for Multi-Party Democracy, all political parties acknowledge that sometimes we are in a very tenuous relationship with the people who actually carry our tickets. It's a discussion amongst all political parties. What sort of control does a political party, for instance, have over the ideas that are advanced by the people who are elected on their ticket once those people get elected? Do you know that it is impossible sometimes, even as the Secretary-General, to even contact somebody who's elected on my own party ticket, because there is all sorts of I don't understand. I mean, it's difficult to understand because of the nature of our Kenyan politics. There are people who use political parties as just vehicles.
just vehicles.
Actually, it's like asking
Yeah.
someone to police human nature.
Exactly. So they will come and say,
How exactly do you do that?
You will hear quite often that mimi hata kama mungenipea hii ticket, I would still have won.
Still have won.
Sifuna, I used my own money. You people never supported me. Why should I even come? Like yesterday, we were having
brought
a
you
harambe.
votes.
But generally, like yesterday, there was such a serious, show of camaraderie, because all the members of parliament who were elected on an ODM, all our governors, they actually contributed to the Kibra campaign, and we are very happy about that. But the critical question is really, do the people who get elected, for instance, on an ODM ticket, first of all understand what the party
is about.
what they are doing, and do they leave those ideologies? We get embarrassed sometimes, and it is something that I will admit readily, because my work is not to hide my head under the sand. We get embarrassed sometimes. We have people in leadership on our party tickets heading counties, and there's all sorts of confusion and problems in those counties. It is difficult to justify. But I want people to understand that the relationship between a candidate and the political party is not as it should be. We have postulated, for instance, at the CMD, when proposals were being made to the Political Parties Act, that a political party needs to have greater strength to actually even be able to discipline its members.
And
For
to whip
instance,
its members.
I expel a member of a party by the biggest organ of a party in accordance with the party constitution, but a simple court order from the political party's dispute tribunal forces us to remain together.
And she
And this
in
is
turn
somebody,
expels you
this
from
is
a public
somebody who
function.
has professed, continues to profess that she's no longer with you, but there is nothing as a political party
That you can
that
do.
you can do. So, in fact, that is a debate that is going on amongst the leadership of political parties, even at the CMD, on how really you can strengthen the hand of a political party. Do you know, even...
Hold
even-
your thought. Hold your
Yes.
thought right there, Edwin. I want to go into a commercial break so we can take
Sure.
a look at traffic. This is a Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation. In the room this morning, we have the ODM Secretary-General, Edwin Sifuna. He's here. He's answering our questions. He's holding his ground. But, well, we still have a lot of questions to ask him. And also, if you have a question to ask him, 0719-012-600. That's 0719-012-600. You can watch him on Facebook, Spice FM KE, where we are live streaming. And you can post your question there as well, and we shall ask him. This is a Situation Room, 26 minutes to 9 o'clock. Good morning.
Have you subscribed to the Standard Digital e-paper yet? You better, because we have really great news for you. Get tailor-made packages for daily, weekly, monthly, or yearly subscriptions at discounted prices that are out of this world. Now that's great news. It's the all-inclusive and convenient news platform that can be accessed in one subscription plan. So, simply download the Standard Digital e-paper app from Google Play Store or Apple Store, or visit newsstand.standardmedia.co.ke and subscribe now. Standard Digital e-paper.
Just a top up away, just how you like it.
Tired of living your same old life? Need to spice it up and add some flavor? Well, we can help you go from living to living it up. East Africa, are you ready to be a part of the most vibrant entertainment scene with the best, freshest music, travel tips and destinations, fashion, tech and health trends, as well as your favorite celebrities' lifestyles? Introducing your favorite entertainment magazine, Pulsar, the ultimate all-in-one guide that will give you more meaning to life. Catch up with your celebrity writers and contributors to stay up to date with what's happening around you, where and how you can be a part of all that. The lifestyle guide that has been missing in your life. Pulsar, live it up.
Classic soul, R&B, smooth jazz. Traffic.
An accident on Juja Road is going to affect operations entering into the CBD. There have been rescue first aiders on site to try and get that sorted out. And it is then affecting traffic on Thika Road and also on Outer Ring. Langata Road is a parking lot, unfortunately. Traffic is not moving. The situation is bad, bad, bad. Go to sleep, it said, because you're not going anywhere anytime soon, from what we see. All right. Also upstage towards Muthaiga, going in the opposite direction, is bumper to bumper because the police are on site actually trying to get errant matatus from doing what they shouldn't be. Juja Road along Redeemed Church is also bumper to bumper, slow traffic from the Donholm roundabout all the way to the City Stadium. It's around that time, 8:37, and it's going to be that way for about another half hour or so. So keep it together. By 9 o'clock, you should be fine. Send us anything that we need to know about. Give us a call on 0719 012 600. We'll keep you moving this morning.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
Streaming live on Facebook, Spice FM KE, and on YouTube, Spice FM KE, our Twitter handle, Spice FM KE, and our hashtag this morning, Situation Room. This is the Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation on Spice FM. Now, we have in the room this morning Edwin Sifuna. He's the Secretary-General of ODM Party, and he's been telling us a number of things this morning about the role that the party is playing in Kenya's politics and leadership. He's actually also told us that the party has an ideology. And, it sounds like it's a surprise. And the ideology of the party is social democracy, where they believe in freedom and equal opportunities for all, freedom for the civil society, freedom for the media, and all those things. If you have a question for Edwin Sifuna, or if you have a comment, please go on to our Facebook page, Spice FM KE, and you can post it there. 0719 012 600 is the telephone number to call this morning.
I have a two-pronged question to ask. One, ODM has for the longest time been in the opposition, and so they have been associated to the with opposition politics to the point where it is assumed it is the official position.
They belong there.
Yes, because the questions that are here being asked is like, your job is to be in the opposition. Why are you not? Now, Mr. Sifuna, do you feel it is the duty of the party to actually educate the general public on what the role of the opposition in any government should be?
I think that's what I've been doing since morning, to educate people, including some in this studio.
You've been misleading people. No. One thing I understand thoroughly is democracy.
Why
You've been misleading people. You've been misleading people. I haven't said much because I want to join your party after
this.
Let
me finish. Let me finish answering the question that was posed. I think it is critical.
Yes.
Civic education never stops. There is a lot of misinformation, there's a lot of propaganda, there's a lot of ignorance in the country, and as leadership, it is our responsibility to be able to try and assuage that situation. I don't think it is right for anyone to say, like Latiff has said, that ODM belongs in the opposition. No. Every political party.
That. I was just basically carrying on to the question.
It's the perception. It is the perception.
Exactly. Every political party exists to compete for political power and leadership. And just because you've never seen us as government per se, it doesn't mean that we always belong in the opposition.
And you're not the only party
but
anyway.
It also says something about the citizenry and these other pretenders to opposition leaders, because you can imagine, even after many of them or some of them have declared themselves official leaders of opposition, Kenyans are still crying that there's no opposition. Because there is no gravitas when somebody like Okoh says because he ran for the repeat presidential election, now he's official opposition. I remember he declared himself. Where is the gravitas? When somebody like Mudavadi says, oh, now I'm the one taking over.
So we're going back to personality politics.
No,
so
this
it's
is what
the individual that
this
matters
is what
now.
I'm saying it is a big tragedy. I started by saying that it's a big tragedy that Kenyans as a whole, we have outsourced this responsibility. It's a constitutional responsibility. All of us have to participate in making this country greater. It is unfortunate that we have outsourced it to a few individuals. And these individuals are transient, like all of us. So what happens to you if Sifuna or Raila is no longer there? Who will you be crying to and saying, oh, the opposition is dead? What have you done lately for you to be able to pursue this agenda of keeping, perfecting our union as a country? So we have that responsibility under Article 3 It is a constitutional responsibility. We have largely abdicated it because we have always known there is someone. It gets very interesting, by the way. People on Twitter, they just chill. When things go wrong, where is Raila? Where is Raila? Why isn't he saying anything? Then Raila is on the ballot. They are the first one to say, oh, we cannot vote for somebody who's not circumcised. Oh, this is somebody who participated in what? Oh, what? Immediately the election is over. The government start feeling the pinch of the mistake they made. Where is Raila? It's absolutely ridiculous.
Obviously, this is something that needs a solution, and we keep asking the question.
Yes.
Then if we're talking about the citizenry, because
Yes.
I think this is who you're directing
Absolutely.
these sentiments to.
Yes.
And if we're saying the citizenry need to be then involved in the process, we've asked the question and we've tried to really diffuse the situation and ask, what then do the citizenry do? And we've asked, and I know, for example, I've always said that there must be a serious, active, vibrant lobbying platform in this country.
Yes.
Unfortunately, we are not there yet.
So let me ask you a question.
Apart from that, what
Yeah.
needs to be done? Because clearly what I hear you doing now is crying for help.
Let me tell you, I am just saying that we are a very passive society.
Yes, that word
In
has been
terms
used
of
severally.
in terms of the things that I remember during the first time of Jubilee, after we tried to organize the way that you're talking about, having this organization,
Mobilizing
mobilize
people.
and rally people. And do you know, we always ended up with maybe a maximum of 10,000 people on the streets for whatever issue there was. I used to ask myself back then, what is this one thing that will get all Kenyans upset enough for all of them to come to the streets without being mobilized? It is happening in other countries. We saw the Arab Spring. We have seen what is happening in Hong Kong. It is not any political leader telling people that this is wrong. Surely, where will Kenyans draw the line and say, on this particular one, I
Our
am not
parties
going
have
to work
failed us.
today.
We're going to take responsibility ourselves.
No, it's not that our parties are. I'm saying from the start, we
Own
have to
the country, are
appreciate
you saying?
the constitutional duty that is upon you under Article 3. Do you appreciate that it is upon you, first of all? And
It's
then
a right,
number two,
it's not a
what
duty.
is it that will move the needle for you? What is it that what is this one thing that if it happened today, you would say, now this is enough for me? We have come to a place where I think even Kenyans have become numb because we are used to all sorts of, bad things. Money is stolen. It starts with 700 million. People are, Then it comes to billions of shillings. People are used to it right now, even if it is reported that it is 300 billion shillings or whatever money has
We've
been
become
stolen.
desensitized.
Yeah, nobody cares. For as long as I can
I'd
go
like
to
to
my job.
interject, please, and let me talk
Yeah.
about 2022 politics a little bit.
Yeah.
And just to clarify, I'll be joining your party, so I'll be speaking to
Karibu
you after
sana.
this.
Karibu sana.
I know I seem
Asante.
to have questioned it. I wanted to make sure I'm jumping into the right boat this time.
Karibu sana.
But,
that is the
we
biggest
talked
defection
about-
that I will receive today.
Defection from where?
I know where you
We're
are.
together.
But continue.
We talked about the ideology that underpins ODM, and you talked about social democracy. Of course, that's very fancy, and we need those labels, but we do know that our parties are tribally driven, tribally based. Sadly, that is the state of affairs. So it's good that we're honest with these things. And of course, ODM is representative of Western and Luo Nyanza primarily. What I want to know is, do you have a strategy to try and penetrate other parts of the country? We've seen the DP do this with himself as an individual, and of course he'll galvanize this and it will crystallize into a party where he has cross-ethnic support. What are you guys as ODM doing? Of course there's been the handshake, which is from the top. Now, from the bottom down, or at grassroots level, or even at media level, at any strategic level, are you looking to penetrate other communities?
But Njeri, what makes you think that this particular political party is just predominantly in the western part of the
I
country?
was going to start
No,
with
it is. That is the case.
First of
We've
all,
also got to be
Njeri-
honest and pragmatic.
Njeri,
Let's be
because
honest here. Let's not do any rhetoric.
I must reject that characterization.
Coast,
Because
and
We've got to be okay. You've got coast. Okay, let me ask
I
you my
think outside
question.
of,
Let me be more
you have
direct
already
with my
asked the
question.
question.
No,
Let
let me
me
be more
answer.
direct because I think maybe I was a bit broad and I'm giving you too much space to navigate. I'm asking, what are you doing to get the central vote?
Now, you
Which
see,
is
that
a big and crucial vote. I was hoping you'd pick up the nuance, but
Here-
clearly
here-
you didn't. So
No,
tell
no,
me
no.
what you're going to do to pick up the central vote.
let me-
If I want to join your party, I want to join a winning party. You
Let me-
need the
let me
central
tell you-
vote.
Let me tell you, Njeri, as a young leader, first of all, there are things that I reject offhand. I will not accept such characterizations. ODM does not sit down.
Let's not
Just a
do the
minute. Let me
rhetoric. Let's
finish.
be honest.
Let me finish.
Uh-huh.
ODM does not sit down and ask itself, how are we going to get the Kikuyus vote? That is a wrong
But it is
premise
the
to
reality
proceed.
on the
This is
ground.
what we are
We're
saying.
talking politics.
There
That is the
is-
reality
just
on the
a minute.
ground.
So
Just a minute.
your new party,
You know,
your
let-
new party member, your next new
Latiff,
party member.
you know this
would-
studio
would-
is
I
not
want to
licensed.
know how you're
I
going
did-
to
I
help
did
me
this.
win.
But
Wouldn't
Jerry,
it be
your
nice
next-
if you
No,
actually
he
your
can't
next-
refute
Allow
what
them
I'm
to
saying. I'm
finish.
not
Just
going to
let
let
him
him
finish.
refute what I'm
No.
saying.
your next
He's
party
going to be politically
Secretary-General-
correct and he's going to deny what is in
Let
the
me
ground.
finish.
What
Your
I'm
next-
telling you is reality.
Your next
And I
party
want to join your
Secretary-General wants to
party.
tell you how
Let me
he's
finish.
leading the party, so that you can even make
Okay,
that
my
decision.
question is, how does he intend to get the Kikuyu vote? If
Can
I'm
you,
coming
can
to
you
the party-
allow him?
directly.
Then can
No,
you
he's
allow him to
telling-
actually
okay,
say
Now,
it?
Tell us.
Sifuna, answer that
Let
question.
him say it in the manner he sees fit.
You know, this place is so organized. I honestly did not expect that I was
Answer
coming
the
here to
question,
heckle.
Sifuna.
I'm not
Just-
going to heckle.
it's just
We are
answer
going
the
to
It's
have
not
a
heckling,
debate
it's-
that
this
is
is a
going to
debate.
help perspectives.
Discussion.
Sindio?
Yes.
Number one, any political party that proceeds from that premise that, now how do we get Kikuyu votes? You are doing the wrong thing. That is the siasa ya kitambo ile tunataka kukataa. Kenyans' problems do not know tribe. I am telling you that when a Kikuyu in Central is sleeping hungry because the economy is not working for them, the same thing is happening to a Luo in Nyanza. What we want to do as a country is to build a society that works for everyone. We hope that we can seduce every single Kenyan with the programs that we present at an election, the things that we want to do for this country. If it is about tribes, you will look for the shortest way, the shortcut to be able to get the tribal vote. So it is, who is the kingpin in...
Let's get him on board.
Let's get him on board. What does he want?
Is that what you've
Give
done?
him 2 V8 vehicles. That's what you're proposing. That
No,
we
is that
do.
what you've done? You've
What
gone to
we
the
are
kingpin
doing-
of the
What
Kikuyus?
we are doing is, what we are doing is
And
as
given
a
him a
party,
handshake?
let us have a conversation with the people. Can life actually be better in this country? Are there basic things that we can do? Is there things that we want as a people, as a country, to leave behind? I would like for us, especially the new generation of people, of leaders. And in Njeri, I consider you a leader. I want us in the next 20, 30 years to be having very different conversations when we sit down. Don't look at me as a leader of a Luo party. Don't look at me as a leader. I want you to judge me by the content that I produce in terms of solutions for the people.
What do you put on the table?
What I put on the table. So is it not possible if, for instance, I drew up a plan to end poverty across the country, and we do know that poverty affects everyone, including people in central Kenya, even in western Kenya where I come from. Are you telling me that really, if we had an honest discussion and we presented a plan to deal with poverty that has bedeviled us since independence, that a Kikuyu is going to look at it and say, I don't want it because it has come from Sifuna?
Sifuna,
It's absolutely ridiculous,
Sifuna,
and that's
one
the
of
sort
the
of
reasons-
politics we need to
One
leave
of the
behind.
reasons
I've
we're
got
not
very many
able
questions
to
coming
overcome... Okay, you've got some calls coming in?
Very many questions coming in, not on the calls yet, but also on Facebook, where many questions are coming in. George Anakamba says, clarify the Aisha Jumwa situation and prove that she's not out to rock ODM or using the rock to the other camp, right? And then also somebody else is saying, look at today's headline, visa threat forced to Huru Raila deal. What is this and what's the situation with NASA as a coalition?
First of all, I saw those sentiments in the paper. They were met by Mudavadi. Of course, Mudavadi knows nothing about the handshake, how it originated. In fact, had he come for the swearing in, probably he would know what happened and when. Let me tell you this, and I will disclose this.
Which swearing
you
in?
can quote me. The swearing in of Raila as the people's president. He ducked, if you are not aware.
Oh, that's
So,
political rally.
Yeah, the swearing in ceremony.
Okay, yes.
So here is what happened in the lead up to the swearing in itself. And I speak this with the full authority. I was not the Secretary-General then, but I was a member of the technical committee. Back then it was headed by Ndi. We were responsible essentially for the swearing in. We were the assumption of office committee for NASA. Back then.
You orchestrated
Let me tell you,
Subverting the Constitution.
treason,
prior
treasonous
to
offense.
that swearing in ceremony, there were all sorts of pressure from diplomats, from civil society, from the churches, all of them. They were coming there to tell us, this is not something you should do. And in fact, the threat that he's talking about, cancellation of visas, was a threat that was made to try and prevent
So it's
To
true.
avert the swearing in.
So it's
No,
true.
it's two different things,
Prevent
Latiff.
the swearing in.
It's two different things. It was not, the threat was not applied at the time of the handshake. It was applied prior
Earlier.
to be able to stop the swearing in. And let me tell you, it played a big factor on why some people did not show up. There are people who are, they were telling us they are internationally recognized diplomats.
Kalonzo and
they will not participate in something that is subversion of a constitution. That is the language we were hearing from people like Mudavadi. He himself
So what is
was the one who was
intention with this statement?
afraid because they were telling them, these envoys, they were telling them, oh, you know, this Mzee, he's at the end of his political future.
So what is his intention with this statement?
Let me finish.
And there are
This
some young people who are
this
misleading him.
Mzee is at the end of his political future. You guys don't go down with him. Let him go and do that thing. There will be treason charges. He will be arrested and so on and so forth. But we will need you to be there to provide leadership. They sank. They sank because they were refusing to listen to what the people were saying. The
Or
people were
maybe they were
saying
just
that
obeying
we
the
do not care.
Constitution.
Just a
Okay,
minute.
so what
Just a
was his
minute,
intention?
Latif. Just a minute, Latif. The people were saying, we are not going to engage in legalities. This particular thing that we are calling the swearing in is catharsis for us. We need people to know that we are also here. It is what we want. And immediately the oath was taken. People left without asking, where are we going? Everybody just left and went
It
home.
diffused the
It
tension,
is
definitely.
And
it
without
is cas-
What I-
and
what
without
I'm
this-
asking-
It's cathartic for us. You have to understand that as human beings, we have an inborn desire to be felt, that we are also
To be
here.
recognized.
We are part of this country.
Absolutely.
You cannot ignore us.
To be relevant.
And that is
Now-
the exact genesis of the swearing in.
Okay,
So
what
when
is his
Mudavadi-
intention in this statement? That's what I want to know.
You must understand that, first of all, Mudavadi knows that his ambition is essentially sunk. He's going nowhere. Yeah, he's going nowhere.
Okay,
He
that's
has
your
tried it-
opinion. That's
No, it's
a
not my
subjective. It is your opinion.
It is not an opinion.
It is an
Njeri,
opinion.
you
Now,
need
tell
to
us, what is
understand
his
that when you
intention?
call me,
What is his
he read all
intention?
my capacities at the beginning
Yes.
of this particular program.
No, we called you
I
to
am
ask you about
speaking-
ODM.
I
For
am
you to say
speaking-
about
No, no, no,
Mudavadi
no.
is an
Listen.
opinion. It's subjective.
Listen,
What
so
I'm
ODM
asking, in
ODM
your opinion, what is Mudavadi's intention with that statement?
Now you would have to call Mudavadi here. and
No,
ask
no,
him.
no,
But
no, in
I am
your
telling
opinion.
you, I am telling you, when I give my opinions, you don't want them. Then you go and ask me.
No,
for
I
my
want your opinion on his
I am
intention,
telling
not
you-
on where
I
he's
am-
going.
I am telling you.
Njeri does this all the time. So
It's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah,
It's
just-
fine.
Just go with the flow.
Say the cause.
This is what I'm saying. Mudavadi knows his political fortunes are essentially over. He's going nowhere. He has tried to present himself as a compromise candidate, sijui safe pair of hands. It has not sold. He knows for a fact that he's going nowhere without the support of ODM. He's throwing tantrums. This is essentially what it is, because we have made it very clear that it is time as ODM to formalize the divorce
With Mudavadi.
NASA. It is time to formalize it, because at the stage at which we are, it is no longer possible for us to pretend
It's
that
not
we are
tenable.
friends. It's not
So
tenable.
you're answering that
Yeah,
question
so-
the person asked actually. So what's the status of NASA?
NASA is dead. It died at the swearing in. We are essentially just these are final rights. Whether we will cremate.
So you got a new partner in the BBI.
And did
now.
ODM die at the handshake?
No, we are alive. We are here. In fact, we have never been healthier.
You just-
we have moved, we have moved into a new.
You're also eating
ultra-modern-
meat.
ultra-modern-
You're also eating meat now.
You're a
eh?
better suitor.
Of
Let me give the numbers.
educating-
Let me
carry
give
on,
the number 0719 012 600. We don't want to lock you out on this conversation. This is Kenya's biggest conversation. We've got the Secretary-General of ODM Party, Edwin. We still call it the Orange Democratic Movement Party, right?
Yes.
Yes, the Orange Democratic Movement Party. The Secretary-General is here. He's also the Vice Chairman of the Center for Multi-Party Democracy. So when it comes to political parties and political party democracy, this is the man to ask all your questions. 0719 012 600. CT. I interrupted you.
Yes, you did, but not as well as Njeri does.
Many strings to my bow.
You see, the question I raised regarding educating the public about the role of the opposition. Now, this comes into play. The public has assigned a role, a perceived role for the opposition. And it appears that they haven't taken into consideration what it is that role is intended to achieve. And it doesn't have to be achieved through vigorous or violent means. It could be achieved through what we are seeing as the handshake.
Absolutely.
But
There's collaborative leadership,
Yes,
absolutely.
but-
But remember, he
but
stated
people-
categorically they get money from the Politicals Act Fund, don't you? Now,
is-
with
that
that,
is
you
the
then
law.
have a
That's the
duty.
law.
It's the law.
That's
You
the
get
law.
money from
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
You then have a duty to perform some roles, one of which is accountability, to put the government not under duress. But
That's not why we get the money from
one of
political
which.
parties.
The
fund.
other
No.
also, of course it
That's
is.
not
What
the
is the reason? It's
But
to
that's
uphold
what
the
I- what
tenets
I
of
meant.
democracy.
I begin a statement. You see, she's taken over and she's
I
actually...
want to
And
leave
you're
that because I want
appointing
to end on a
yes,
friendly
and
note.
she's actually
It
having
was-
my
it
discussion
was
on
your
my
question.
behalf.
It was your
Yes,
question.
yes,
It was your question.
yes.
Or was it a statement?
It was a statement, and I was saying this. We cannot overstate the need for the public to actually understand the various roles that the opposition can play. Because if it's to achieve a certain end, even the handshake is achieving the very end that the demonstrations set out to achieve. It's just that this is now different. And when it's different and new and it's not understood, then people are puzzled. And the one thing they will feel is that now, given that this is Kenya, that the opposition is compromised.
I will tell you where all these sentiments come from, my brother. Kenyans are hurting. And that is an honest opinion.
Yes.
Kenyans are hurting. The economy is in doldrums. People have no money. They are struggling with school fees. Our healthcare is in shambles. That is what gives this genesis. Because honestly, everything that we do as politicians...
So they want someone to speak on their behalf loudly.
No, this is what I'm saying. I'm saying everything we do as politicians, as political parties, is supposed to result in something good for the public. For as long as we are not seeing those results, Kenyans cannot see a difference in their lives, then really they think that there's nothing that you're doing. But here's what the civic education part is critical. Because we said from day one that even with the handshake, ODM did not join government. We have decided on a collaborative path that instead of Raila shouting from Mombasa and Uhuru is shouting from Thika, you can actually sit on a table and say, if we did this like this, we could achieve this. And we have seen some benefits. For instance, Uhuru was totally crippled in the first term in terms of the war on corruption. He couldn't move at all. Even in the face of, glaring irregularities within state corporations and within his government, it was impossible. Now, generally,
why was it impossible, really?
That's what I'm saying.
Yes.
That's what I'm saying.
Are you going to
you're
take the
getting
credit?
I am
for
going
Uhuru?
to take the credit and some more. and I will take you with me too. I will take it. Because, let me tell you, the fight against corruption.
So, no,
Listen,
what has Raila done in
listen,
the fight against corruption? Let me
explain.
hear this.
Let me explain. The fight against corruption.
And in a minute,
everybody
to go to
will
the
say
top of the hour.
that what was lacking then was political will. You need political insurance for you to be able to go after your friends.
And
who
Raila
are
provides this
responsible for the
insurance. He's an
corruption.
indemnity of sorts.
And so the collaboration allowed
Exactly.
this to happen.
Sifuna,
Is
I
what
gotta
you're
give
saying?
it to you. You're a very, very good, astute politician. I want to ask you about what your party is doing to promote women leadership in terms
Now,
of.
that is a discussion. We
We are going to have this
Sure.
discussion. Also, we need to, of course, look at Kibra and what is happening with the Kibra by-election and what the ODM party is doing. We have the ODM Secretary-General Edwin Sifuna in the studio with us this morning. This is the Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation, 0719-012-600. Also, you can comment on Facebook, on Spice FMKE, and Twitter, Spice FMKE. Please follow us. And you can also use the hashtag Situation Room. Good morning. It's now 9 o'clock.
Sugar and spice and everything nice. Spice it.
Spice up your life. Traffic.
Thika Road is a parking lot, unfortunately, and it's the total opposite of what is happening on Gong Road, because it seems that the president cleared the way yesterday when he went to the show, and we still have great things happening on Gong Road as per no traffic. All right, Wayaki Way is as expected, and that's all traffic moving into the CBD. Nothing totally out of the ordinary today. It's a good day on the roads of Nairobi, and we'll keep letting you know what the situation is around about 9 o'clock. Seeing anything that we need to know or any routes where you see there's trouble, give us a call, send us a message. Number again, 0719 012 600.
This is the Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room. Witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have Njeri Thorne, lawyer, political strategist, an insider in the corridors of power, ready to take on any side of the debate with her signature eloquence and grit. C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Okoh, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latiff, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down. This is the Situation Room. The only way to start your day.
Good morning, 2 minutes past 9 o'clock. This is the Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation. 94.4 in Nairobi, 7.9 in Mombasa. We are on 102.5 Kisumu, 96.0 Nakuru, 96.7 Eldoret, 90.9 Nyeri, 97.6 Malindi. And we are live streaming on Facebook, Spice FM KE, on YouTube, Spice FM KE, on our website, spicefm.co.ke. In the room this morning, we have Mr. Edwin Sifuna. He is the Secretary-General of the ODM party. He's also the Vice Chairman of the Centre for Multi-Party Democracy. And, most importantly, he's a Kenyan voter. And we're discussing issues pertaining to Kenya. But now, Njeri, before we went into the traffic break, you were asking about ODM and women in leadership.
Yes, I wanted to find out whether they place emphasis on women leadership and they encourage it within the party, and what provisions they make to ensure that they can put women at the fore in terms of elective politics, given that, of course, the playground or the terrain in which women have to contend is very difficult. What measures do they put in place other than having, wonderful looking people at the fore of their party and eye candy? What else are you?
Thank you very much.
Edwin,
What else?
Oh my goodness. Take it with a pinch of salt.
Be modest.
Okay,
Take a
so
compliment.
so here's the first thing you need to know. We have a constitution that requires that
She's destabilized
the House
today,
of,
hasn't she?
of Parliament must have 1/3 being of the other gender. So we basically have struggled as a Parliament with the 2/3 gender rule.
But as a party,
ODM, I am very happy to report to you that we are not doing 30%. We are at 29% elected women out of a total number of people in Bunge. We are at 29%, and we are hoping that we can push the envelope further.
I can come on board.
This is how it has to be done. We understand that because of the historical and cultural and social issues, women have had
disadvantage. They've been at a
big
disadvantage
in terms of participation in politics. So how do you try and even that playing ground? First of all, you ask yourself, like myself, how my journey to political leadership has been. You need opportunity. You need to create spaces where the people who are interested in politics, whether they are youth or they are the women, they can actually participate. So I tell young people every time that you are not going to come from zero in 2 years and then you are speaking at Uhuru Park at the final rally of the biggest political coalition, for instance. You need spaces. We need to be able as a political party to organize spaces, for instance, even at the local level, kabisa.
For women.
Let the local women, say in Kilifi, in Bungoma, speak before an audience of 20 people first. Give them opportunity to air their views.
So encourage
an
them
audience
as well.
of 100 people. Expose them, let them travel, let them sit in positions of leadership. I'm very proud as a Secretary-General, for instance, that when we had the Miss President contest here at KTN, 2 of the 5 finalists were nominated MCAs from the Orange
ODM.
Democratic Movement. As we speak right now, one of them who did not win, one of the contestants, is called Vivian Ta. She's now my personal assistant at the party. And it's not that she runs errands for me. I want to be able to expose her to political processes. So we go to rallies with her. We sit in meetings with her. She's able to see. I mean, you need to be in that environment.
She
for you
should
to be
come
able
for
to grow.
interviews with you as well.
So
Yeah, she's actually here at KTN. So if you want to talk to her,
Okay.
just jump in.
Okay,
But,
on a
you
more
need-
specific
you need
level,
to create those,
do you have
spaces.
funding that goes towards this realization?
Yeah,
of
so
ensuring-
this is what we do, because even the political parties funds that we receive, they come with certain caveats. There's a certain percentage that has to go into
Absolutely.
those programs. So what we have done as ODM, and when I came in as a Secretary General, we had a problem, first of all, with physical structures across the country. We had a number of offices that had been closed. They had rent
Dilapidated
arrears,
and so on.
dilapidated. First of all, that is where we are beginning. We are creating these structures. Number two, we are going into grassroots elections next year, so that we have people elected to be able to fill the positions on the ground. Now, we need engagements. We have a very active women league. They hold, these seminars, they hold these town hall meetings with women across the country from time to time. We are very appreciative of the support that we receive both from government or the political parties fund, and even from organizations such as the Center for Multi-Party Democracy. Because through them, and we have partners such as the Netherlands Institute for Multi-Party Democracy, DLPD, DFID, they give us money and resources for these specific programs for women and for the youth. So that is the only way. And as a top leadership of a party, for instance, the CMD sponsors interactions between the top leadership of a party and young people in the grassroots. You feel very nice when you hold a town hall and the leadership of a party is there, the SG is there, the party leader is there. We tried it in the run-up to the last election with what we used to call Kikao. Kikao was basically you take Raila Odinga to Mombasa and you sit him in a room and he's surrounded by 1,000 youth from Mombasa that he doesn't even know. Let them have a conversation with him as a party leader. There is something that happens to you when you are able to shine in front of the people who matter. Because if you are just shining in front of people who cannot say, by the way, who was that young lady who spoke in Kisauni very well? Can we do something to ensure that she can be able to join leadership? Right. Yeah, so there's things like those. I have set targets for myself as a Secretary General. Those targets are both voluntary and involuntary, because there's also a court order that is directed at all political parties that in 2022, every political party must run X number of candidates who are of the other gender. So it is my responsibility as SG to find these people.
I see it coming from a point of something that has to be done.
It has to be done.
Do you see that there then is enough representation coming from women who are offering them themselves into those positions, or is it something that now needs to be coaxed out of them?
Yeah, I think personally I have beef with how the women movement has gone about this discussion. Any person, whether you are a man or a woman, for you to be at that table, you have to have merit. It is a merit-based system. We will create certain advantages or remove certain disadvantages for you because of the historical and social issues that we have talked about, but there has to be something you're bringing to the table.
Yes.
So it is not
not just
it's
your
not
gender.
just
Because
the
you're a
qualification
woman,
is not
yes.
the gender. And I say this and I run into a lot of problems, even with young people. I tell them, your youth is not a qualification for anything. You have to, because there is, I think...
Is that what people think? Is this the general sentiment, as opposed to them thinking that...
Some of them
merit.
think they'll just come and say, oh,
I'm
but
a
here
youth.
there is no
I'm a
women.
woman, so therefore...
But what constituency are you actually representing? When you come to sit on the table, what are these things that you are bringing? What new perspectives are you bringing? Because I believe that sometimes you cannot just bring the gender perspective. You are a leader in your own right. For instance, when I elect a member of parliament in my constituency and she's a woman, she's a member of parliament. I don't expect her to go there to articulate issues for women. No, you articulate issues of your constituency. Yeah. So this is the argument we need to have, that people must pull up their socks, and this is why we are saying, as a political party, we must have this outreach programs that are able to then identify people. Sometimes I sit on TV and I see some very brilliant young women. They come on TV and they articulate their issues. I don't know if I can mention their names. I have personally reached out to those women and said, I need you in ODM.
Because you can
I
do
need
a lot
you
of
in ODM
good
because I
propaganda
see
for
that
us.
no, it's not propaganda. That I see that
You're in line with our thinking as well.
Not that our
as
thinking,
an ODM
it's not
party.
necessarily
It's
our
called
thinking
potential.
with our party. You have the right stuff. I mean, when you talk about the issues on the ground facing Kenyans and the solutions that you're proposing, they make sense to me. I say that I would like to have such brilliant people in the political
party.
Right.
Yeah, some of them have rebuffed my My advances because of the
Because they have better
the
deals
propaganda that is generally surrounding ODM. All these people are violent.
People rebuff
you
your
cannot,
advances.
you cannot win on that ticket in Central. You know, all these things that we want to leave behind. And just say that we want to build a political party that is representative of everyone, that is based on ideas, that has brilliant people who can actually, when you sit around the table, you can produce solutions for the country.
Edwin, tell us about that court order that you just mentioned.
Yes,
so there's a court order that
uh,
requires political parties to have...
So what has happened is because Parliament, the judiciary, everybody, civil society, they have struggled with this 2/3 gender thing.
Yeah.
So the argument is that really, for as long as all political parties clear candidates that meet that requirement, then we will essentially end up with a parliament that meets that requirement.
Sure.
So, but it has some challenges, Latiff. We have to agree as all political parties
Because also
that
it's
in
an
certain
elective
constituencies,
process.
yes, it's an elective process.
You can't
that
force
inside
people to
you
vote a
can't
certain way.
you can't have
But you
a
can
candidate
encourage
for,
them to vote a
say,
certain way.
Embakasi South.
And force a woman onto
all
them.
the political parties must have a woman candidate for this
Yep.
particular constituency. So you'll hear all the sorts of noises from all the men in Embakasi who wanted to run, because it will defeat the purpose. If, for instance, as ODM, I have presented a list to the IEBC that meets the 2/3 gender requirement, but I have a lady in Embakasi South who's facing 10 men. Yeah. With all the historical disadvantages and problems,
Yeah.
they'll probably just still run
Right.
It's
around
a
over.
difficult,
So
it's a difficult one to
it
achieve.
is an admission by the public, by all these other entities that they have failed. Now they want to force it upon political parties, and that is what the court order is.
Okay, so what does it say?
But we are happy to comply. It essentially says when you present your list of candidates, it must comply with the 2/3 gender rule. So if you are presenting candidates for all the 290 constituencies, a third of them must be.
From where
And
you
it's-
see, don't you
it's-
think that makes sense?
It undermines
I have
democracy
said,
to a
I
certain
have
extent.
said to a certain extent it makes sense, but I have also told you the pitfalls, because it has to be an agreement amongst all political parties, and which is why this forum such as CMD is important, that in certain constituencies, I think that's the only way it will work, that in certain constituencies we
Block
are going
them out
to,
for-
all of us will conspire somehow to only nominate, give tickets to women in that constituency.
Does that not undermine democracy?
It
though? I
does.
think that's where the
It
conflict
does. But you see,
lies.
the greater discussion is how are we going to deal with the 2/3 gender rule in
I
Parliament?
think it's
We have postulated.
sensitizing. What you need to
Just
do
a
is
minute.
sensitize the electorate.
minute.
Focus on that.
Just a minute. This is a discussion. You see, the good thing with ODM is that we have solutions. We don't
But you
just
must
cry
listen. You must
about
listen also.
problems. Let me
Solution
give you the
oriented.
solution.
Perhaps that's another ideology
Yes.
that you need to
Yes.
put in.
But you've been crying
Let me
for
give you
the
the
longest.
solution. Let me
Take
give you the
advantage of the platform and tell us.
Yes, let me
Yes.
give you the solution. We have argued that other countries have struggled with this thing as well, and there's a very simple solution. There is a representative system of election, like they do in South Africa, where you don't vote for
That's
individuals.
parliamentary.
Yeah, it's called a proportionate
representation.
representation system. Don't confuse me, Njeri. I know what I'm talking about. These are things I know you in government have not thought of, but we are here to provide solutions. So what they do in South Africa is that you vote for a political party, and the political seats, if it is 290 constituencies, are allocated on the basis of the percentage of vote that you receive. Then you have a list of people who will be members of parliament generally, not that for any constituency. These are the people going to Bunge. So on that list, it adopts a zebra. They call it a zebra pattern.
Yep.
The first person being male, the next will be female. And like that, and like that, and like that, until the end of a list. So if you have 17 political seats for Nairobi County, if ODM receives 90% of voters we're going to in 2022, it means that we are taking 90% of the seats. You essentially just take the list that was submitted by ODM and take the first
The
9.
top 15.
Exactly.
So you're inaitwa parliamentary system, by the way.
wewe sikiliza nikufundishe.
Now the voting style is
Sikiliza
proportion-
it's called proportional representation.
There's that,
Parliamentary
that is an
system.
element within the parliamentary system.
Mutanilipa civic education. A parliamentary system.
South Africa ni parliamentary system.
It's okay, but this is a voting system.
No, there's a
actually,
question
right?
I want
These
to
are
ask
voting
you because
systems.
we're
This is
running,
voting system government, yeah.
we're running out of time. There's a question I want to ask you, and it's sort of an elusive. It's me coming back to a question I'd asked earlier, but I think maybe the way I framed it was too raw. But we've talked of inclusivity. We've talked of gender inclusivity. What about embracing other communities? Because ODM does have a reputation for being Western-centric. Western, as in Western Kenya, Luo Nyanza and Luya. And yes, you so rightly pointed out the coast. But in terms of Central, What are you doing? I think I approached it in the wrong manner, and it's not something you'd want to admit, being at the fore of the party, that you have a strategy to bring in the Kikuyu vote. So let me phrase it differently. How are you going to ensure that you include leadership in your party from central? So if I want to come into your party, can I win votes?
Are you saying or suggesting that ODM doesn't exist in central Kenya?
I think I should appoint you to be my candidate. Because ODM, as I said, has structures in all the polling stations in this country. We have leadership in Kiambu. We have leadership in all the counties of central Kenya. I have opened an office in Nyandarua. I want to take you there and see it. I have a chairman
You're
in Nyandarua.
posting me Nyandarua.
No. I'm just saying. You must understand.
Olkalau.
There's an office in Olkalau for ODM.
No,
So what you need to understand, Njeri, is this: the way you win people over really is the solutions to the problems in their lives. It is that simple. And if we can agree generally that
why
we want
haven't you been able to win people over then? Because we're
It is
tribally
because-
based. We
it is
cannot
because-
overlook
it is
that.
because-
We
it
cannot
is
overlook
because-
that.
It is because even despite our best efforts, we cannot remove the words that you are still regurgitating from your head and from your mind. You are
So
still
the way
repeating-
you
are
win
still
people over
repeating-
is to understand how they think, and how we think at the moment is tribal. I don't want you to. I know you want to put this
no.
utopian,
Listen,
idealistic approach
Listen, it's
to your
not utopian
politics.
or idealistic.
But given its
we
politics,
have a
we're discussing.
responsibility in Njeri.
Absolutely, and
We
we
have a
all do. And I'm not
responsibility.
suggesting this is the best
and
route
for me,
to go
I
down.
will resist all efforts to drag me back into that era where I am only defined
You've
by
got
where
to
I
meet
come
people
from.
where they are.
No, this is
Sifuna.
what I'm
you have to
saying.
meet
Let me
people where
tell
they
you.
are. We're still tribally based.
Let me tell you.
What
don't
I'm
say that.
asking you,
If
we are.
You are still
We
tribally
really are.
based, you personally.
We really
don't,
are.
Don't generalize. Because
No,
this is,
no.
this is
We're
what
not
is
going to
happening.
overlook that
Just a
fact. We've been
minute.
voting in tribal
Just a
blocks.
minute. That
What
is-
I keep asking is, what are you guys doing to ensure you
This-
have the central block?
I have answered
You've seen
that
the URP
question.
faction of Jubilee is
I have
penetrated
answered
and they're
that
gaining
question.
traction. What are you guys doing
I have
as
answered that
ODM? And I
question.
want to know, as somebody who wants to join ODM, to know I'm joining a winning party.
This is what I'm telling you. I have answered that question, Njeri. Our doors as a party are open to everyone, every single Kenyan.
So I can
who
win a
believes
ticket
the
in Central
aspirations-
on an ODM
who
party,
who believes
on
in
an
the
ODM
aspirations
ticket.
of a political
Actually,
party.
we do have a case of someone who actually won a ticket to parliament on an ODM ticket.
Before he
just so that you
defected.
understand.
Yeah,
Yes.
Mburi Abu.
Yes,
You
okay.
won.
I
Yes,
want
it.
to know, what are my chances if I come to
Now
ODM?
that one is
No, I'm not
between
talking
you
about
and your
personally.
electorate.
No, I'm not
Uh,
talking
Njeri,
about personally.
there are
This
people who
highlights
lose.
what I'm
Just a
trying to
minute.
get at. It
Let me-
highlights
let me
something.
finish. Let me finish.
Let me
There
finish
are
my
people who
question, 'cause
lose,
you're answering something I haven't finished.
Elections in Central with a Jubilee ticket.
Absolutely.
They lose.
Because
It is
we're
dependent
independent
on
thinkers
you
in Central.
and the ideas that you give.
We're independent
the
thinkers in
electorate
Central.
for them to
What
vote for.
I'm asking, Sifuna, and I'm asking this, I'm going to personalize it, but I think it highlights or it sheds light on something that concerns quite a few if they're going to back ODM. Could I, as Njeri Thorne, win a ticket, win a seat under an ODM ticket in Central?
Why not? He has given you an
Okay.
example.
Have
of,
you
of
have you done
somebody
the
who actually
groundwork
did.
for me as ODM?
You do the groundwork.
No, I'll do my
yourself.
groundwork.
You
No,
are the
need party.
candidate.
No,
Can I
the
ask?
party
You are
it
the
works both
candidate.
ways.
Can
The
I
party
ask,
also helps.
Is the
You can
expression,
lose even with the Jubilee
is the
ticket in
expression
Central.
is the expression of open doors countrywide enough to state that even if we have been voting on tribal blocks previously, is the expression of open doors by ODM
You must-
countrywide enough
Yeah,
to
you
take
must
away from
address-
the prejudice
Let
of
me tell you.
tribal
Let
voting
me
or
tell you,
tribal
this thing is
expression?
very clear in my mind. You must address the tribalists in this country who will always want to define our politics in those lines. I will give you a very simple illustration. The people who are going to vote for the first time in 2022 were born in 2004. They were not even there for Kibaki Tosha.
Right.
They don't speak the language that we speak. Sometimes I hear this Luya saying, oh, so you Luya unity. An 18-year-old Bukusu boy and an 18-year-old Maragoli boy will not be drawn into this Bukusu Maragoli.
They're not even
divide.
of that
They
dispensation,
don't
is
even
what you're
speak
saying.
that language. Yao ni ile ya wanaitanga nini?
Sheng.
Kuna
Oh,
ile
yeah.
inaitwa wa Mlambezi and wa Munyonyezi. That's the language. So if you want to drag those people, you must
We
talk to
can't-
them. Are they going to be able to go to school? Are they going to afford education at the university? Are they
they
going
get a
to get
job?
jobs after they graduate? Are they going to be able to move out of their parents' houses? Are the jobs going to be well-paying jobs?
Isn't
That's
this
the
how-
language.
isn't this
Now,
the
that's
language
the
you have been
language
talking to
language
them in any way?
expressed by the party.
Exactly.
Okay.
Sifuna, isn't this the
So
language
anyone
you
who
have been
wants to draw
speaking
me into
anyway?
the
I'm not. We can't.
Kikuyu,
No.
Luo
We've
divide,
got
I
to
am
be
going to go into
realistic.
that.
You
You
know,
know, there's some
you know,
resistance.
Edwin.
There's been Raila resistance in
I'm
Central.
of
What are
a
you doing to
different-
counter
The
it?
the issue of tribe, Edwin, actually now, just to update you, Ndu and I have always said we need to go to the next level, where we are called utopian, where we say let's not talk about we're the idealists. Let's not talk about tribe all the time and looking at political parties in tribe. So understand this, and you can answer the question as straightforward as possible. So there's a perception that ODM has a dominance in coast. There's a perception that ODM has dominance in coast and western, and not in other areas.
Eric, it's not a
right?
perception.
Based even on the number of MPs that you have in parliament, looking at that, there's that. However, what is it that ODM is doing to ensure that it wins more seats across other parts of the country?
But that is exactly what
And
I
the
have
strength of the
explained.
party.
I have explained that it is basically what I've been doing here this morning. It's civic education. We are saying that political parties,
You've been educating us this morning.
political parties need to speak ideologically. You need to speak solutions. I do not think that I can be turned away by Kikuyu youth because I have come with a message of this is how we are going to uplift ourselves as young people in this country. Because I am ODM.
That is
All this
definitely
propaganda,
the right
all this
direction,
propaganda
Sifuna.
that's what I'm doing as
It's
as
the right-
political
no,
leader.
you're on the right
I
trajectory.
personally, let me say this. I want to be very clear. I do not see any other way other than proposing solutions for the problems.
So you're not going to have any
There's
other
no other way.
You're on the
any
right
other
trajectory,
answer.
but
Are
we
we saying that
ignore-
one
we
solution?
ignore
Are
what
we
is
saying
there.
that one solution then is to not talk about the
This is
tribal
what I'm
way
saying. The tribal
this
thing
is
and
what
is
I'm
focus
saying.
on
You
where we
cannot-
should
This
be
is
going,
what I'm
and that is
saying.
going to take the
Sifuna,
conversation
you cannot
away from that.
completely ignore it.
Yeah, this
I
is what I'm
understand
saying.
your trajectory, and I embrace
This
it,
is
and
what
I
I'm
like what
saying.
you're saying.
This is what
And
I'm
I hope
saying.
ODM is the pioneer of non-tribal politics as a
We
party.
are. We
that
are the only
comes in-
party that
No,
has a
but
footprint across
what-
the
okay.
country.
So
Let
this-
us
something
be
that we are just
strategic.
supposed to
Jerry is
Let
saying
us be
you cannot
strategic.
ignore it.
Yeah.
Let's look at
Either
Central
you
as
answer
a
and say
voting block.
you're choosing to ignore it.
You've
Unajua,
chosen to
it's
ignore
not
it.
choosing to ignore it. We are saying those who are preoccupied with it can do it.
Which is the voters.
We don't have time.
No, we have to be careful that
we don't have to
focusing
be
on
in the
other
same
things.
place.
No. What
and
you
the
don't
same
want to do
state
is
of mind.
disenfranchise a
No,
whole
no,
group
no,
of
no.
voters
Yes,
who
I'm
they
saying.
have been
This is what I'm
conditioned to
saying.
think this way.
They have been conditioned
There's a
by
lot of
people
voters who think this
who
way.
repeat
Are you
and
not going to
regurgitate
embrace them?
these things. That's
Okay,
what I'm
what are you
saying.
doing?
But
So-
Jerry,
This is my question
Jerry,
at large.
even as you
This is
asked
what
me-
I'm
He's
trying to
answering,
get to.
Jerry. He's
I have
answering this
answered that
question.
question. I think
He's answering
He's
this
done
question.
the
No,
question.
Jerry
Okay.
wants it answered in a certain way.
He's refused to answer the
I think
question.
what I need to do, I want to ask Njeri, what should I do in order to win the Kikuyu
Yes.
vote? You tell me now.
you've got it.
No,
You tell me because it
Finally.
is clear that
You
what
as
I
a
am
party-
proposing,
well,
you have information
Finally
that
you
I
got
don't
it.
have.
No,
that
I don't
it will
have.
not work.
So you
tell
acknowledge
me
that there is-
what-
no, I'm
what is it
glad-
that
first of all-
what is it that I am supposed to do? so that I
I'm
win
glad
the
you
Kikuyu vote?
acknowledge there is the Kikuyu vote,
No, I am-
and it's very important
You
that
are the
also
one
you
who's
acknowledge. No,
putting
you
words in
asked
my
you-
mouth.
you-
May I just
you-
see
you've
voters
asked me a
and don't
question.
think Kikuyu vote.
You've asked me a
let's
question.
her answer your question
Yeah.
now.
No, you have asked me a question.
It's
So
your
you
question.
acknowledge there's a block.
It's a question. I'm
Listen,
asking
Sifuna,
you.
I'm trying to help your party here. There is resistance. No. There is resistance.
You're actually not helping.
No.
You are not helping.
It's good that
No.
we
All
have
right,
this
so
discussion
Njeri,
and we understand.
Njeri, answer his question. What should he do?
That is not
as
my problem.
Secretary-General
I am
of
asking.
ODM?
You can
What-
employ my
I
consultancy
have-
services.
I have
No, you
given-
can.
I have
You
given
can
what I
employ my
propose.
services, and I will come and advise
Jerry,
and give you a strategy.
the only
let's-
reason
let's
I've
close
asked
on
the
this
question
question
is,
then. Let's
I
close on
have
this
given
question. The
an
question
answer
has been
that
asked.
is not satisfactory to you.
It doesn't
You
answer
don't
the
think
question.
yes. So how would you do it if you are
Now
in
How
you
would you
must
answer the
deploy my
question?
services.
I am not
on a
going to hire you.
consultancy basis,
For what?
and we shall take it from
For
there.
what? You are responsible
No,
for the government we have in
She's
place
going-
now. You
she's
should
going
take some
You know, I am of
responsibility
a
for the
different.
problems.
I am
You have
actually,
evidence
City.
of that?
I'm
Yes,
actually
City.
of a different
Yes, City.
thought process from Mr. Sifuna's. You see, he used the word that I liked. It's called tribalist. Huh? When you use the word tribalist, it has a very profound indication of negativity. It isn't positive. There's a heritage of ethnicity that we cannot run away from. We have it. There are advantages. It just happens to be a grouping that we emphasize for political reasons. But the truth is, it isn't negative in this country until and unless it is made. People
Exactly.
assume that
It's
these
made.
Western countries are devoid of it. No. They just downplay it and euphemize it. But you cannot control how people group and how they socialize and how they interact. Ethnicity is just one of them. And even within that ethnicity, there'll be subgroups and other subgroups. Our politics is actually not tribal, as Njeri is trying to claim. Our politics is tribally motivated because it is a means to getting votes, but
Absolutely.
it isn't tribal.
But it is a bad thing. I do not assume that because I am a Luya, I was born amongst the Luyas, I should just stand in front of them and tell them, I'm your son. Vote for me. I mean, how many sons do Luyas have? You have to have something. You have to present a proposal on how you're going to change the stock of these people. So this is what we propose. And if it is clear that it is not a solution that is acceptable to Njeri, I am welcome to hear.
So can
what
I
other
ask again?
solutions
So then
you
can I ask
propose.
again
Yes.
the
Sifuna.
way to get ahead? Because
Yes.
clearly in everything, and for me it is always about moving ahead
Yes.
in terms of making things better, getting to that ideal utopian area, whatever we want to call it, or that arena. The way to then getting ahead is to focus on the things that matter.
Thank you.
Focus on the things that matter and really try and say the language that people are speaking at this time for who are going to push the country forward is the business now that we should be involved in.
Exactly. I agree with you totally. 100%.
So we'll talk about BBI. We'll
Yes.
talk about Kibra. Let's start with Kibra and then we'll end with BBI. All right?
Yes.
So we saw, yes, and you said the membership of your party in Kibra told you that if you dare select a candidate and bring them to us, we are going to revolt. And then also soon after we saw, so they went through a nomination process, and soon after we saw the party actually apologizing to the other candidates. What was that all about?
Now, as with every exercise, we did our best. I personally think that the preparations that went into Kibra were amongst the best that I've seen since I was appointed SG. The National Elections Board just covered about everything. We had challenges that happened even during the general election. You will have a gentleman showing up at a polling station and not finding their name in a register, for instance. It happened in a few polling stations, and it was resolved. I was there personally on the election day. I checked and saw what the problem was. I ran back to Orange House. We reprinted the register for those polling stations, and people voted. So, of course, I have been a candidate before. First for the ticket of a party, I did not get it. I was looking for a party ticket in Kandui constituency in Bungoma. I did not get it. I came to Nairobi. I was given the ticket for the Nairobi Senate. When you lose an election, it is usually a very difficult moment for people. So you must allow those people to ventilate. And a candidate who has lost will say that if it were not for this problem at this particular polling station, that is
I'd have
my
won.
stronghold, I would have won, all sorts of things. We are a leadership that takes responsibility. I am not ashamed to admit that we fell short. It was not 100%, it was 95%. I would have loved for it to be 100%, but there are shortcomings. As leadership, we readily admit that yes, there was a challenge with the register at certain polling stations, but generally, I think the candidates themselves, and that is why it was so easy for them to even accept the result. We talked openly about the challenges we had, and we accepted that certain mistakes were made. It is a learning process. We will get to 100%. None of the candidates, or the 24 people who are looking for that ticket, has defected or joined any rival,
political party,
as was expected by our detractors. The violence that they were waiting for, so you ballot boxes being kicked. They were so disappointed. I was getting calls from newsrooms saying, "Oh, you have denied us a headline. There are no photographs of ballot papers flying, all sorts of things," because we are trying so hard to do right by the membership of this party, to change the perceptions about ODM, to explain ourselves to people. So I was a bit, miffed, because there's people who will always go to look for fault. I have even said, if ODM successfully, steered the second coming of Jesus and he came and kila mtu ameona ndi huyu, there will still be people looking for a problem. Which robes is he wearing? Which colors are these? Who picked these
I'm in
ODM
complete
people?
agreement
So,
with
He's,
you.
he's wearing
This
black.
time.
We are very happy. We are very, very happy with the
And
process.
with any political process.
We listened to our people. They are happy with the candidate, and we believe that we will win this election by a landslide.
You will.
Were the
I agree.
mistakes, were the mistakes to such an extent that you actually thought it good to return the nomination fee to the candidate?
This is another thing that I hear from the media, and I get very surprised, because this the 10 people who actually go to the ballot, they have all accepted that they are going to support the candidate. Every week I am giving these people money, because they need money to put fuel in their cars, to join us in their campaigns, they are always with me. They need money. I'm giving them every week. Nobody's talking about the disbursement I made this Monday. You're just looking at the disbursement that I made initially. Yeah? Because they require resources, Latiff. Yeah?
So it was not a reimbursement of
If
their
it is
fee.
a reimbursement, I have reimbursed them over 2 million shillings each as we speak today. Why would that be called a reimbursement? They need resources to be able to campaign for us.
This man knows how to speak, and he
No,
knows
it's the
exactly
truth.
what he's
It is
saying.
I'm in
Yeah,
agreement with him on this one, so he'll have it easy.
He knows exactly what he's saying. So we saw that ODM has apparently reimbursed money to candidates, and now he says
It's
no.
one
it
of
wasn't
the
case.
purveyors of fake news that is grounded here at Standard Group, and I've refused to talk to him from that day.
I gotta give it to you,
Right.
Sifuna.
So he's blocked.
I blocked him, and he blocked him. Because we have to now, instead of condemning an entire media house, condemning an entire newspaper,
Go to an individual.
go to individual journalists and say this is not journalistic.
This is Edwin
standard.
Sifuna. He's a Secretary-General of ODM Party. What do you have to ask him or tell him? 0719012600. Also, Facebook, Spice FM KE. We are live streaming, and you can go in there and post your comment at our website, www.spicefm.co.ke. Good morning, 29 minutes to 10 o'clock.
How well do you know your country? Given a chance, where would you go? Not so many places, huh? Would you even know how to get there? Yes? No? Maybe? I don't know. Well, oh ye gallivanters and tourists alike, here is your chance to not only know, but also visit amazing destinations in Kenya with complete recommendations, guides, and tips on accommodation spots, wellness stops, and food joints all over Kenya. How you ask? Courtesy of the biggest locally targeted tours and travel magazine, Travelogue. Travelogue is your monthly pull-out magazine in the Standard newspaper every first Thursday of the month. With Travelogue, enjoy the beauty of life that Kenya has to offer. Visit exotic and hidden destinations, be part of amazing conservation campaigns and projects as you simply enjoy Kenya. It's our way of putting Kenya on the map. Grab your copy and be aboard the fun wagon as you improve the quality of your local travel experiences. Travelogue, Jione Kenya. Tired of living your same old life? Need to spice it up and add some flavor? Well, we can help you go from living to living it up. East Africa, are you ready to be a part of the most vibrant entertainment scene with the best, freshest music, travel tips and destinations, fashion, tech and health trends, as well as your favorite celebrities' lifestyles? Introducing your favorite entertainment magazine, Pulsar, the ultimate all-in-one guide that will give you more meaning to life. Catch up with your celebrity writers and contributors to stay up to date with what's happening around you, where and how you can be a part of all that. The lifestyle guide that has been missing in your life. Pulsar. Live it up.
Classic soul, R&B, smooth jazz, neo soul, and nostalgic ballads.
Make some noise.
You're listening to Spice FM.
Finally, we have it where most of the roads are easy heading into the city centre and also out of it, except for the perennial issues that we see on Thika Road. Still a lot of traffic trying to get into the CBD this morning. Hopefully that will dissipate by around 10 o'clock, where half an hour sees us with police trying to diffuse the situation. No issues coming off Wayaki Way, except when you now get into the CBD and it seems to be chock-a-blocked. We're at that time of the morning where it's easy street, literally. If you see something that happens that is different, do let us know and we'll spread that information. 0719 012 600.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice F.
Well, 24 minutes to 10 o'clock. Good morning, and how are you doing? This is the Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation in the room. I'm Eric Latiff, Ndu Okoh, Njeri Thorne, CT Muga, and we've got a guest this morning, and this is Edwin Sifuna, the Secretary-General of ODM. He's been here, he's been telling us about the party organization, how he's running the party as a Secretary-General, as a spokesman for the party. We'll also discuss the role of ODM in Parliament or in opposition, as, people who are supposed to keep the government in check. And we're now discussing Kibra, and we move into BBI. Just before we move into BBI, I've got a question that's coming on Facebook as well, Edwin. If Kibra is ODM's stronghold, why does the party look like they're in panic? Even had a fundraiser yesterday, arguably the biggest for a by-election, raising approximately 10 million shillings.
You see, this is some of the challenges we face, because as ODM, you are damned if you do, damned if you don't. So they will say, oh, this is your stronghold, why are you campaigning? I'm like, at the end of the day, we still have to reach out to voters and to tell them what the plan is for them. It is about the voters. It's not about the political party. So if you don't campaign, they say, oh, you are taking this thing for granted. You think it is your stronghold. Now you have already won. That's not our style. Politics is about persuasion. And you have to be able to reach people so that you are able to persuade them. So when we said we will put in every effort for us to win the seat, that is exactly what we do at all by-elections. In Mbakasi South, we did the same. We fundraised for those candidates. We raised money for them. We were present. We had teams campaigning in Ugenya. We had teams campaigning in Mbakasi South. Right now, people don't know that we actually, as a party, are involved in 5 by-elections. There is 4 civic seats and the Kibra seat, of course. There is Malindi, there's Marsabit, there is Garissa, and there's Kitui. So as an SG, I have all these things to do. So we have teams there. We are producing materials for them. Yesterday, we had the materials for the candidate in Kibra. We have given the candidate in Loyangalani, the materials, all of those things. We must put our best foot forward, because we mean business when we say we want to win a seat. We don't take anything for granted.
Well, I've got some questions coming in on through the phone 0719 012 600. Edwin, I'll ask you to put on your headphones finally, so you can hear these callers. We have this is Joel calling in from Kericho. Good morning, Joel.
Salama kabisa Eric, habari ya kina Njeri, sisi Muga na watu wote ambao wako hapo.
Mzuri kabisa.
Salama kabisa. Sasa Njeri, niko na swali kwa ST wa ODM.
Yes.
Mheshimiwa Sifuna.
Yes.
Kuna vile nyinyi watu wa ODM amuzi sera zenu kile ambacho mtafanyia watu wa area hizo penye huwa mnafanya campaign. Sijawahi sikiza kwamba kwa sababu watu wanafanya campaign wanaambia watu kile tutafanya ni hiki na hiki na kile. Kile nyinyi watu wa ODM mnafanya tu ni kusema tu ruta hii, mkipigia kura watu ruto, mkichagua mtu fulani mmechagua Ruto. Kwa nini sisi msiweze kusema kwamba watu hapo ili tunafanyia ni hiki na hiki na hiki?
Okay. Thank you very much, Joel. I also have another question from Yego, calling in from Nandi. Good morning, Yego.
Yes, good morning. Yeah, first of all, I want to congratulate Edwin Sifuna.
The guest of honor.
He was doubting Thomas when he was given that to be SG.
Yeah.
But he's doing very well in that capacity. I think I congratulate him in his leadership.
Asante.
Now, swali langu ni, we've known ODM as a critical in the opposition, and though tunajua nyama ni tamu, but we want to see ODM still following some issues. Let's go there. We want to see ODM defending Wanjiku, because we have seen things like we were talking about the failed irrigation project. Those MPs in the agricultural docket of ODM knows what happened, and we want to see these people defending us. Lastly, I want to ask you, Sifuna, alikuwa anamaanisha nini vile alisema ati Ruda is looking for war in Kibra? Thank you.
Okay. So there, take those ones first.
First of all, I don't think in this entire campaign I've mentioned the deputy president at all. I was not even part of, I saw that statement was issued by members of parliament in the precincts of parliament. It did not originate from me. So I think it's confusing the personalities there. I want to address this issue because it is an issue I've raised with many people on what it appears that ODM only focuses on during the elections. You see, this gentleman was calling from, was it Kericho? Now, if you are a news viewer in Kericho, we always have these news crews that come to cover our campaigns, right? So in Kibra, we will have discussions about the projects that Ken Okoh had begun, Kibra Secondary School, which is supposed to be finished in the next 1 month, Ayani Primary, all the projects that were going on. We have seen the fight against cartels who divert water supply and then sell it to residents. All the local issues are actually addressed. But national media will not cover local stories for you in Kericho. When I speak as a Secretary General, I will speak about the issues for Kibera. But the news media, because we get about 3 seconds each on TV at news time. So when you're sitting in Kibera, you'll only catch me discussing the national issues, because that is what the national TV stations will report. So the impression is created that the entire campaign is about these national issues. But we do actually delve into these issues. And I have never seen a more articulate candidate in terms of bringing out the issues for the people of Kibera, whether it is the bursaries that his brother had put in place, a proper system where everybody was getting something, whether it is the issue of schools that are being built, whether it is buses for the schools, whether it is security, the high mast lights. All of those things are discussed and debated. But you will agree with me, even you as people who practice in the media, KTN News is not going to air unless they go live when people are talking.
Kibra
Yes, they're
campaign.
not going to.
Can I just ask so I can make sure that gentleman's question is fully covered because he's not here? What does Sarah is policy?
Sarah is policy.
Yes. This is what the gentleman is asking. You never sell your policies, so maybe it's an opportunity for you to talk about what policies you have as ODM, as opposed to he's saying you simply criticize
But
the other party.
I have explained
What-
that
what-
because,
no.
Because I have.
So
I have
what are the
spoken to
actual
you.
policies? You've
I have
explained
spoken
why
to you.
it seems you
I
don't
have-
sell
I
the
have
policies.
spoken
What
to
are the
you.
actual policies? That's what you would like to know.
Njeri, please listen when we are talking.
I
have
listened.
spoken to you about what we are telling we are going to do for the Kibera people. I have told you that there was good work that was being done by the former ODM MP, Honorable Ken Okoh, in building schools. And we are saying that our responsibility really is to ensure that there's completion of those projects. I have given you Kibera Secondary School, which we are being told should be complete within the first 100 days after the election is done. We are talking about water. We're talking about bursaries for students, because the biggest equalizer in Kibera is actually education. And that is why Ken Okoh had actually put it at the forefront.
Okay, this gentleman was calling. He was calling from Kericho. What are your policies nationally?
Then I explained. He was coming from the perspective of what we say in rallies.
So what
Wasn't
are
that
your national policies?
Am I misunderstood?
No.
Yeah,
I want to make
Am I
sure this.
misunderstood?
I want to make sure this gentleman's questions
and
are
then
answered.
as the Secretary General of a party, as ODM, you say, ODM is not talking about corruption. I have finished talking about water for the people of Kibera. I've spoken about education, bursaries, nini. And there's a screaming headline here that the Deputy President again has been drawn into another land-grabbing saga. Immediately I say that is what is going on there. 9
So
o'clock
now,
news.
while you are
So that is
here,
the problem.
while you're on this platform,
Yes.
Sifuna, he is asking, he's calling from Kericho, so he's not concerned about your actual policies in Kibera. What he's asking is, what are your
He should
policies?
have tuned
Hold
in
on.
earlier,
No,
because
that's
we have
not
gone
fair.
through all
The
these
gentleman
things.
is
Hold
not
on.
here.
You asked me
What
what,
is your
ODM
policy nationally
Hold
as ODM?
On what?
What is your
On
policy? What are you
Because
selling?
we have a
Musalia
land
Sarah,
policy. We have spoken about
so
it. We have
he
spoken
said-
about our policy.
No, but the
women,
gentleman
our
feels
policy.
shortchanged.
Just
He's
a
asked
minute.
you,
Just a
Musalia
minute.
Sarah.
Just
Joel.
a minute.
Do that
That's
for
not
him.
what he asked.
He
He's
said-
putting words in his
Edwin,
mouth.
Edwin.
But to
Edwin,
be fair,
hold on.
yeah.
What Joel said is when we see you, when we hear you speaking, we're hearing you speaking all the time about other political players. Specifically, William Ruto this, William
My
Ruto
goodness.
that, William Ruto the other.
You know-
why
No,
don't we-
don't interrupt. Wait.
Why don't
I have
we
understood
hear you,
the question.
Why don't we hear you
I have understood the
actually
question.
articulating your national policies? for
Absolutely.
Yeah,
ODM?
so, okay.
So,
That's the question.
why
that
don't
was
you
asked.
take
the
this
problem.
opportunity to do that
Here's the
briefly?
problem. I have done it, Njeri. If you are not listening, that's not the
Okay,
problem.
do it for the gentleman.
So,
Clearly, he
what-
didn't catch it.
I
There's no
think I
harm.
have answered
Why are
him.
you
I wish
running
I had
away
his
from
number.
articulating your
I wish
national
I had
policies?
his number, I would call him.
But you have a brilliant
see,
opportunity and a platform to articulate your national policies. Why would you
listen,
run away from that?
Listen, I have given you our policies one by one.
You
Because
talked
policies
about-
are broken down in segments.
Do you feel it's
if
right?
you do not have an understanding by
Do you-
now
do you feel
of
it's right?
where the party stands on issues to do with women and equality, freedom of the media, if you have no understanding of what we stand for in terms of freedom of a civil society, equality for all, this is what I've been doing the whole morning. You see,
Maybe you need to break them down into bite-sized chunks for the
education
public.
depends on two
Package
people.
it so that Joel
Education
from
depends
Kericho
on
can
two people if
understand.
it is going
You know,
to sink.
If
It
you
depends
tell
on
him
the
this
teacher,
distribution
and it
of
also depends
funds,
on the
distribution of
student.
resources,
So that-
explain
If the
to him.
student is not receptive,
Give him an
then
example of an
going to learn.
initiative
Hold
that
on,
you'd
hold
want
on.
to
Okay,
run.
okay.
Hold on,
All
hold on,
right,
hold
if
on,
we
guys.
can
Hold
see-
on, guys. Hold on, guys. So let's actually now talk about the issues that Yegon has raised.
Yes.
Respond to Yegon's question.
Yego's question was this: every time he sees us on TV, we are only talking about William Ruto. Isn't that what he said?
Yes.
And I have explained to him that because he relies on national
No, that
media-
wasn't Yegon.
No,
that's another. That
him.
was the
That's
previous.
Joel.
That's
That's
him.
Kericho.
I've written it
No,
down.
Yegon was
The-
asking
the
about
gentleman-
more in
the
Kibra.
gentleman- The second gentleman talked about Nyama ni tamu. I have written it down here.
Yes,
Isn't that
Nyama
what he
ni
said?
tamu is the
And he
handshake.
said, why are we not defending Wanjiku? And
Yes.
he talked about
That's the second gentleman.
So
agriculture
now
committee.
let's respond to
Yeah,
those
so
ones.
the second one, the agriculture committee chair is actually a gentleman from Rift Valley. He's not an ODM member. It is chaired by Jubilee, and the Jubilee has a majority in that committee. He says that Nyama ni tamu because there is this perception that is going around that ODM is part of government.
You're now
that we are in
inside.
government. We have said it repeatedly. Being in government is actually something that is physical. You have to be in there. So if we are not in there physically, why are people forcing us to be inside government? We said it from the start that the handshake was not about people joining government. If it was, probably by now I would be a cabinet secretary. I would be sitting there in cabinet making decisions for the executive, but I am not.
You know, the gentleman who called from Kericho was talking about his perception and what he has understood.
What he has understood by what he has seen.
Yes, you see, he may not understand that what he hears because he's not there is
It's
what
tailored for him.
yes, or the media has left out what you have. And here Njeri has a point, Mr. Sifuna. The opportunity was to explain to this listener that, look, we do explain our policies. We do. But sometimes they aren't aired in a manner that would suit you, or you aren't, or it doesn't get to you, because in every place, even where he comes from, ODM has candidates, and you can't have a candidate and not talk about your policies.
Exactly.
All
So,
the time.
so here's the problem.
Yes.
And I think I have said that.
Yes.
I don't know if it is possible to play back the things I'm
No, no,
saying.
No,
yes,
he's
sir.
understood
Because
the
I
problem,
have-
but why don't you
that is
articulate a few
exactly
policies
what I
that he
have
can
said.
understand?
And if the listener had joined us from the start, we actually went through these things.
You
I don't
did.
understand
The question
why,
was asked and
why
you
the
actually
perception
answered.
is
You
going.
did. You did.
Sifuna,
why-
what I'm not
why is there a
understanding, you have an
perception that we did
opportunity
not?
to sell
You're
ODM
I have
here.
already
Why are
done
you
so.
refusing?
But he's
There's
already
more,
done so.
there's
But
more
he's done
opportunity
that.
to sell them.
I've already
Why are
done
you
that.
refusing to
So,
sell
a
ODM?
specific
that
policy
would
would
be-
Order,
want to-
You guys need-
to hear.
Order, everybody, order. I have switched off all your mics. Order, because I have got on the line is Wilbur from Westlands, and Wilbur from Westlands is actually calling to ask you a question. Because before you even come to respond, because you still haven't responded to all of Yego's questions. So first of all, listen to what Wilbur is asking. Wilbur, good morning.
Good morning. Hi.
Hi.
Hi, Mheshimiwa.
Hi, Wilbur.
Hi, everyone.
Good morning.
morning.
Well, thank you.
Good morning.
Hello to you.
I'm Wilbert Say. My question to Mheshimiwa is very simple. It's very simple. ODM, their main mandate is just to use other political manifesto and using other politicians' name to gain votes to them. Like, let's say in Kibra, they say that, ODM is a bed for our honorable Raila, so Ruto team should not get even a single vote. Sifuna, what are you not understanding? And after handshake, you're in government, but as Raja normally say, ground between is different. Otherwise, I wish you all the best and let the best win in Kibra.
I wish you all the best as well.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Wilbur, thank you very much for your call. And it was a comment as well, actually, not much of a question. So the question is, why aren't you
It wasn't
getting
a
this?
comment. It was
But the
his
guy was
perception.
showing he doesn't understand what the policies are. And Sifuna has this great opportunity to articulate them, and he keeps curving.
But that is not true. He articulated the policies.
He
The
articulated
person
the
was-
ideologies.
The person who was talking, what are policies?
Redistribution
If
of
they're not
wealth and
manifestation of
redistribution
ideology.
of wealth, social democracy.
These are
equality,
people talking
freedom, and so-
The distribution of wealth is yours. I did not say that. Who said that?
You said equal distribution.
That is
equal
a totally
distribution of
different
wealth.
matter.
No, equal distribution
Equal-
of wealth.
equal
What did you talk about?
opportunities. Equal opportunities.
Equal
It
opportunities.
was
He
equal
said equal
opportunities.
and wealth.
Eric,
Let's talk about BBI.
Yes.
All right. So BBI, of course, the party leader of ODM is principal number 2 or number 1B of the BBI. And what is it that the party actually sees coming out? And you said that the party organ sat down and looked at the 9-point agenda of the BBI, and you looked at what is it that we can contribute to this. So what did you contribute?
I think we put out our views. They were covered extensively in the Standard newspaper, if I remember correctly. But we will quickly just run through them so that I'm not accused of
Not articulating.
ignoring an opportunity to articulate. So here's the deal, Latiff. After that handshake, there was an MOU that was signed between the president and Honorable Raila Odinga. It has 9 points. These people, the two leaders, have identified and said these are the biggest problems that are facing the country from independence. We have lack of inclusivity, corruption, challenges to devolution, shared prosperity, it is one of them, safety and security is one of them, divisive politics, ethnic mobilization around politics, all of these things. What we did as a party initially is to set up a committee, a technical committee, and I was part of that committee, to look at those 9 issues and see if we were asked as a political party, how would you go about addressing these problems that have been identified by these two leaders? So we asked ourselves those questions. When it comes to ethnic antagonism and ethnic mobilization, what are the causes of ethnic antagonism? What is this thing that people are always fighting over? Why are there people who think that the only way to win an election is to cobble up a coalition of X tribe and Y tribe and ignore totally the issues? Yeah, like I'm being invited here to do, just in order to be a winning party. You know, as a lawyer, we are trained to do something, to be independent from winning at all costs. You don't have to win at all costs so that you lose your soul in the process of winning just because you want to be a winner. No. So we have proposed certain solutions. We have said, for instance, the biggest problem with devolution is that the people we elected first to implement this constitution were not big believers in devolution. They are mostly centralists. When I say centralists, I don't mean they come from I
That
mean,
rider was important.
yes. No, because I know Njeri is here. Centralists mean they believe in a central government.
Policy.
Yes, as a policy.
As
So
opposed
you
to
will
right
see
wing or left.
There are all efforts to frustrate even devolution. This year we had a spectacle where, because of a fight between the Senate and the National Assembly on the division of revenue bill, counties were essentially going without money for long periods. So if you are going to strengthen devolution, what proposals are you going to make? How do you address the specter of corruption at the local level? Yeah, that people feel that yes, we might add money to these governors, but still the levels of accountability and the productivity of that money is still at a low point. You propose solutions. We have proposed initially that yes, we needed to increase the allocation to the counties. We need to put in place a mechanism that is self-executing, that money to the counties will go automatically without the governors having to travel to Nairobi to beg anyone, because this is something we gave unto ourselves as Kenyans. We want to strengthen the hand of the oversight bodies, whether it be the county assemblies and the ESCC and the DCI, to be able to combat the problem of corruption at the counties. So those proposals have been made. This is, in our view, how we can strengthen devolution.
Was
Number
there any
two,
consultation with this technical committee that
yes,
came up with these solutions?
yes.
Was there any public
So
participation or any consultations?
This is an internal document. I believe all entities, including individuals, were invited to make proposals to BBI.
To the BBI.
I am sure you have capacity to put together an MOU. They gave an email. You should have sent your views. Now I'm talking about the views of ODM.
Okay, in these views of
I will
ODM,
give you-
did
I
they
will
take
give
into
you the
account
story.
party members'
I will
views?
give you the story, Njeri. So as a technical committee, there were certain proposals that were made. Yeah. On the issue of representation in parliament, for instance, we have proposed as a political party the proportional representation system that we were talking about earlier. that if we adopted that system, probably we would end up with a balanced house. We have spoken about safety and security, reviewing of the police command, because we have borne the brunt of the brutality that is meted upon our supporters and the public generally by the police. We have proposed a different structure of command and personal responsibility for all police officers, so that they cannot hide behind the command. It is there in our proposal. We have proposed, for instance, on the question of corruption, that if we are in government as ODM, if you are a member of that government, you are not allowed, whether directly or indirectly, to do any business with government. It's a proposal.
So
you can laugh it off, but for us, we think that the genesis of all corruption is people who want to trade with government. Because I'm the person in charge of a ministry.
And how are you going to police that and enforce that?
That's now where
how do you propose
this is the good thing with sitting with people from ODM. We think about these things together. Njeri. We think about these things. So it's not just saying, corruption is a big problem, but you don't propose solutions. We have spoken about how we end this ethnic antagonism. We have a history with the president's seat in this country. It used to be an all-powerful seat, and we have gradually gone reducing the powers. But still, there is a problem, because people feel that the only way lawyers will get an opportunity to eat is if Luya is president. The only way, even when we hear, how are you going to take care of our interests in government? We want a government that is it's tribe neutral, that works for everyone. When you propose policies, don't propose policies for the Bukusu. Propose a policy for Kenyans. But these are solutions for problems that affect Kenyans. So we have proposed on that particular limb that we could have a system of parliament that works, a system of government that works. We have a parliamentary system with a head of state and the prime minister. There are clips that I've just been doing rounds recently of the experience with the prime minister in this country. What we have right now is a system where even members of parliament cannot directly ask a question to a cabinet secretary. It is difficult for them to do it because you have to go through your committee chair. So the committee chair will seek a statement from that minister. They never appear before the people's representatives to answer questions direct there and then. If you remember that time when Raila was prime minister and there was prime minister question time, that is the time, how will you ever, as a representative of the people, for instance, if I'm elected as a member of parliament, maybe for Kibra or for, if you have the head of state or the person in charge of government there, and you're asking him, boss, you said this particular road was going to be factored in.
5 stadium.
What is it? Yes, where the 5 stadium? Let him be the one to answer those questions there, instead of hiding behind committee chairs and CG reports from where. It is a good system. Number 2, if you delink the government from the state, there are certain benefits. Right. We have seen it in other countries. These are the proposals, Latiff, that we have made. But we have a rider. We give our views as a party. When the technical committee completed its work, and I want to come to Njeri's question, I called all the 47 chairmen of ODM in the counties. We presented to them, this is what we are thinking as the national as a national leadership. What do you think? They removed things, they added things,
so those
and the final document, because Njeri, you must understand what leadership is.
Tell me.
Leadership means seeing things that other people cannot see.
That's a rhetorical question.
Seeing things that people cannot see.
Edwin, I've got to say,
leadership also means crystallizing things that people want and people need. You could have listened to them bottom-up leadership.
I've got to say thank you to you for coming. So say your last thing.
So our proposals are not the proposals of the BBI team. We have just put in our views, the way that Ford Kenya did, the way that Jubilee did, the way that ANC went there and made their proposals, the way that many
individuals
also contributed. So that it should not be taken that what we propose is what is going to
ODM.
Absolutely.
Right. Edwin, thank you very much for coming this
Asante kwa kunialika.
And we'll want you to come again